Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. Hope you're well. Hope you had a great weekend. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. I think I said it twice already. Man, I'm excited to be Jeff and you, Tom.
Well, I'm excited to be Tom.
All right. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you're going to listen live via the streaming free. Always, if you miss anything, you can always get caught up. We'll post all 3 hours of the program both on iTunes and in our own audio vault upon the conclusion of the show. You can email us if you like. JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. Find me on Twitter at JCameronShow, WTSM app, mobile devices. And if you want to watch us, you can on YouTube, ESPN Tallahassee there. So, man, it's so easy to do this, but I saw the Willie Taggart quote now that's making its way around. Tell me you don't feel like the biggest cheesy rah-rah guy in the world because you're like, yeah, that's right. Blame no one. Have no excuses. Do something. I'm in.
The 3 tenets.
We're not going to blame anyone. We're not going to make any excuses. We're going to go out and do something. All right. Yeah. Here's to doing something. Let's do something.
Yeah, that's like, watching an NFL broadcast. Do something.
Yeah. Please, somebody do something. I'm tired of watching this review. It's true. There are now 6 ACC teams ranked in the top 25, and Florida State is amongst them after winning over the weekend in a game that started ugly, but one that Florida State won comfortably. If you missed the game against Tulane down in Tampa's Amalie Arena, first meeting between the two teams in 22 years, then you missed Florida State break out to a big lead only to watch Tulane come back. But Florida State, too quick, too strong, too big, and pulls away comfortably 72-53. Brian Angola with another good basketball game, 18 points to lead all scorers. Terrence Mann in foul trouble, so Florida State had to rely on others for the first half, essentially. Came back in the second half and played well. Did Terrence Mann, ended up scoring 12 points. Forrest played well off the bench. Fiondu is a fun player to watch. You know, he was kind of outclassed against Florida, but then gathered himself and was physical and smart and deliberate in this game. I'm excited by this team. I think they're a lot of fun to watch.
There's a post-possession in the first half where Fiondu decides to put the ball on the court, and then you have a defender come in and try and take it away from him, and he has the presence of mind and the calm to take the ball away, rip it away, really,
yes.
Play like a man, and then calmly make a baseline move and then bank it off the window and in.
Yeah.
It was so smooth for someone who hasn't traditionally been a big in his life, and that's the story of Fiondu, is he's kind of grown into this role, that he has the makings of being somebody who's going to be a difference maker down the line. I just don't know it's yet.
Question.
But,
yeah.
There are moments where you go, yes, that's it.
That's going to play. Didn't pick up a foul in this game either. But you had some guys that have been carrying this Florida State basketball team not step up and play well here. And this is that balance I keep preaching about. I keep talking about how I don't think they're going to get, blown out by anybody because it's somebody else's turn all the time. Phil Kofer didn't play well in this game. C.J. Walker didn't play well in this game. Both of those guys have carried this team bunches in the early portion of the season, and neither could here. I mean, Walker scored 3 points. Just couldn't shoot the basketball. Phil Kofer was 2 of 8 from the field, 0 of 1 from the free throw line. He did have 8 rebounds. See, this is what I'm saying. Over and over again, I talk about why I like this team is they have a lot of different ways that they can play and beat you or stay in a game when they're not shooting well, when a guy's not playing well who did in the previous meeting or in the previous game, somebody else picks him up. Or an aspect of a player's game is not where it normally is or needs to be for a night, but they do other things well. And in this case, Kofer rebounded the basketball the way you ought to if you're his size and you have that ability.
Stat sheet don't care who fills it.
That's true. And MJ Walker only had the 6 points, 1 of 5, but he did play 3 of 5 from the free throw line, 4 boards, and an assist in 19 minutes off the bench. I don't know. This team has a lot of guys that any given night can impact that stat sheet you're talking about in a positive way and in bunches, right? I mean, this is a game where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys impact the stat sheet in a way that helps you cruise to victory.
Unfortunately, you have to wait forever and a day. And again, I'll lament it. Listen, I get why they do it. I'm sure they get cut, some kind of check for it. But a lot of neutral site games, a lot of away games, not a whole lot at the TLC-CC. I'm looking forward to seeing the ACC slate here, and then a couple of games around the holidays. Huge game, though, this Saturday. I mean, you win this one, you're putting yourself in position where 8 to 9 ACC wins in the course of the regular season is going to put you in the tournament. And that is a great position to be in.
Yeah, again, if you could navigate the non-conference schedule, I said before we played a game at 11-1, we would all be elated. They have a very good chance if they win the game down in Sunrise against Oklahoma State to go 12-0. In fact, if they win the game against Oklahoma State down in Sunrise, I'm going to tell you they're going 12-0. That's what's going to happen in the non-conference, which is good because it's not a great non-conference. So you needed that win over Florida, and you got it. And it's good you got the win over Rutgers. Now, if you can really kind of close out Tulane and Oklahoma State in back-to-back, you feel good about the name teams or some of the name teams in your non-conference whom you were able to beat. And then you hope they go on to have good years, save for Florida. But and even them, maybe a little bit.
It's kind of happy to see them beat Mick Cronin, if there is such a thing.
Yeah.
To be happy about. I was Cincinnati ever since that hand check night in the second round.
Slappy all game round.
Complete nonsense.
Yeah. Carson Wentz done for the year. The storylines in the NFL feature snow games, ugly games, some fun games to boot. Last night's being one of the best. I know that over the years, it's always fun for all of us as fans of football to get into the debates about where quarterback A belongs on the all-time list. And does he belong at the table with this guy or that guy? Man, I'm telling you, when Ben Roethlisberger's playing well, he's as good as anybody we've seen play in the last 30 years at quarterback. It's amazing. It's not Brady, but it's when he's playing well, he's as good. It's fun to watch. He's got all the throws, keeps plays alive, plays smart, is tough. Over 500 yards passing last night is crazy. It's the third time he's done it in his career.
Brady's better, but Roethlisberger can do things that Tom just can't do.
Right, he's got a bigger arm.
He's got a bigger arm, and he's also tougher in the pocket.
Well, he's a lot bigger than anybody out there playing.
He can take the beating.
Yeah, he can.
Brady beats you with preparation and pre-snap more than he does. Roethlisberger can beat you post-snap because if you don't get him the first chance you get, man, that broken play is going to lead to a huge play down the field. I know
it was a talking point last night. It came up, and I found myself to some degree kind of agreeing with Chris Collinsworth. Man, it is crazy to think, but you could have a wide receiver in the discussion for MVP. I don't know how it's possible that the whole league knows they're going to throw to Antonio Brown, and they can't stop him. He's got now on the season 100 catches, I think, after last night. The next closest receiver on that team, on that list, is 37 receptions. So, the whole world knows where the ball's going, and he just time and again gets open, makes a play in traffic, catches the ball on the sideline. It's nuts to watch. I don't know why, but I did giggle a little bit watching Cleveland blow a 14-point lead over the weekend. I also kind of laughed at my Bucs, penalty-laden, turnover-fueled, absolutely in disarray. What a mess of a situation that is.
Yeah, just looking at Antonio Brown, because I don't want to think about the Bucs. But, yeah, he already has 99 catches.
Oh, 99. I said 100. Okay.
For 1,500 yards.
Oh, no, dude, it's ridiculous. And everybody knows where it's going. Everybody knows where that ball's going. Again, the next closest receiver on his team has 37. Now, obviously at running back, Le'Veon Bell has 75 receptions, I think. But, still. They don't throw it to anybody else.
Yeah, his next game, he's going to clear 10,000 receiving yards for his career. And this season, Antonio Brown projects at current numbers, but who knows? They might need him more down the stretch, so maybe he'll rack up even bigger numbers. But on 197 targets, first of all, which is just insane, he's projected to 122 catches for 1,857 yards this season.
Have yourself another incredible year. Army, Navy, a lot of fun. It's an ugly game that if two other teams played, you really wouldn't find all that interesting. But when you watch it between Army and Navy, knowing what they have to do to be competitive and the systems that they have to run, it is fun to watch. And, you throw in some snow and drama late and a field goal attempt that is narrowly left from that distance at 48, I was impressed that was even close. I didn't think he could get it there given the weather. You ever? I know you've certainly played catch with a football in cold weather before, and if it's like 40 or 30, how it stings your hand and the football is like a rock.
Sure, yeah.
I thought that's going to hurt his foot. How the hell is he even going to get it there? But he did. He thumped that sucker and gave it a ride. It came close. That was a joy to watch. Army wins for the second year in a row. Good for them. After 14 years of suffering, they've bounced back with back-to-back years in which Army walks off with a victory.
Yeah, the one thing, and the announcing team couldn't point it out enough, that I found interesting, there really wasn't much option football. It was, straight-ahead dives for
Gary
Army.
Danielson wouldn't stop. I got it, Gary. They're not running the option. On and on.
Your straight-ahead fullback dives for Army, and then for Navy, you run with the quarterback. I mean, that's the way this game was played. And I thought, honestly, after the way Army went down their first drive and they scored, I thought, well,
yeah, we got to control the line of scrimmage.
Army's going to
beat that ass.
Okay.
Yeah, nope.
Then I saw Navy's first possession, and Army's defensive line was pushed back 4 and 5 yards every play. The quarterback didn't get hit until he was downfield on pretty much every run. I thought, well, oh, no, Navy's going to score 25, 30 points tonight. And neither team did. It ended up being a great second half. But man, for what that is, and if you can just understand that going in, that game is always really entertaining because you could have first and goal and you don't know if you're going to score on the drive. Think about that.
Yeah, it's true. I would never do this because I was not in the Army. But man, those Grays, those kids look smooth in the stands. Yeah. How those jackets are badass.
Well, and how about those uniforms? I would have thought Army would have to change to a different uniform, but they were perfect for camouflage for this particular game. They're white with Army green for numbers.
Yeah, but I don't think it confused Navy any. Just us on TV watching in the snow.
You never know. That blocker, that extra H-back might have been blinded.
All right, so Giancarlo Stanton goes to the Yankees, and the people in South Florida probably have a hit out on Derek Jeter at this point, who immediately came in and just gutted the franchise and gave Stanton to the Yankees. But it is going to be a crazy, we're going back to a bygone era where you have these giants in pinstripes that hit the league's home runs. They just hit all the home runs, Tom. They also will strike out in record fashion. I can only imagine the nights where the two of them combine to go 0-8 with 8 strikeouts, because you'll have to revel in that when you juxtapose the nights in which the two of them go, 6 of 8 with 4 home runs between the two of them and, 12 runs batted in, because it's going to be a hit-and-miss situation in New York.
No, yeah, and they cover about 40% worth of a mile on those home runs. Yeah, it's I just hope that they make the playoffs every year, because then it's a heightened failure. Like it's a failure if you don't make the playoffs with the Yankees, but if you make the playoffs and lose, it's actually worse. That fan base gets more angry at you. See A-Rod. And they strike out a bunch in the postseason, be it the one-game playoff or the division series.
Record-breaking.
Then everybody's going to talk about what's wrong with Judge and Stan and the Yankees. Why don't
that's just who they are.
Why don't they win the World? Yes, but it will be misrepresented, and they'll have to deal with the New York media, and this whole thing implodes on itself while they're spending a $500 million on these two players. It's outstanding.
Carson Wentz, I'll back to the NFL for a second, gone for the year for the Eagles after a torn ACL. That is the big news in what was a thrilling game to watch between Philadelphia and the Rams. And then, of course, I will say, Tom, I am on a roll. Going to go ahead and brag on myself in the opening segment. I took the Jags over Seattle and gave the 2.5 this weekend. They covered yet again. My last, I think it's 9 NFL picks, 8-0-1 against the number.
That's very nice.
We need to go. We need to go to Las Vegas. I have not been this kind of hot in the NFL, maybe ever. It's crazy.
I just need to offer one thing up about
There's a vision.
Jacksonville's defense. As somebody who was playing against Russell Wilson this weekend, did you have to give up the long, meaningless bombs?
Yeah, well.
What the hell was that?
Yeah, it hurt. I was going against him, too.
He was doing nothing.
Nothing.
And then you come back 10 minutes later. It's 2 plays.
Was that a 3-0 game at half? I believe it was.
Yeah.
So think about this. Think about the poor bastard. You want to talk about bad beat segment. The guy that took the under in Jacksonville, Seattle, which is 40-something points. And they're like, okay, I'm going to bed. I'm good. Not that you'd go to bed in the middle of the afternoon on a Sunday, but you could. It's 3-0. And the next thing you know, there's 50 points put up in the second half.
Maybe you're in London. It is time for bed.
I'll talk on this a couple of times today. They're seeking to identify the fans who threw beer at Quentin Jefferson after his ejection and an attempt to climb into the seating area after having said beer thrown on him. I know how bad it would be for the game. I know how ugly the incident would look, and I certainly don't want kids to see it, admittedly. I wish he had gotten up there just to pulverize these idiots. And I'm not talking specifically about Jags fans. I'm talking about fans who throw things at athletes. Like, they feel empowered to be able to throw things at the participants, at the combatants, from the safety of a seat and a bunch of security guards. Never mind the things you hear people say to players when you go to games. I think we're about due for another one of those instances where you go, oh, this is what happens when 6'6", 330 gets into the stands to confront He-Man over here who thinks he's tough throwing a beer at 5'11", 180 and yelling all kinds of nonsense. I would love to see it.
Yeah, 5'11", 250. That's who that guy is.
I mean, it's just, I'm glad the security officials were able to, to keep that from happening, and the sheriffs came in, and because it's gruesome what will happen. But, man, I'd root for fans to get pulverized in those instances. I do. I don't want anybody to die, and I don't want to see riots. But when you got remember going back to the Palace, I mean, I'm telling you, I laugh every time I see the footage of that fan square up.
Well, the first guy didn't throw it. Yeah, the first guy was like, what are you? No, that guy.
Bam. Yeah, but I just want to see it. But that said, they'll identify him and attempt to keep him out for the year or for life, I suppose. But
the best thing they can do is identify him and just throw his photo all over social media. Use social media for some good. Shame the guy.
What gets in a guy who's decided that now, man, a guy gets kicked out of a game you're going to win, a game you've got won? Yeah, what are you doing?
In an alternate universe where, we're not talking about that particular part of it, I mean, they did pull that Shiano nonsense. I mean, they're diving at the quarterback. They're just stacking the line and stacking the gaps, the A-gaps.
Yeah.
And then they're just trying to push the pile on the quarterback and force a fumble. And then they start a fight after. Michael Bennett's starting a fight in a separate area. And then Seattle up the middle is doing that. I mean, the game's over.
No, I get what happens. I get how the ejection occurs, and I get how Bush League it is, and I get how silly it is. It's just that at no point should that ever embolden the fan enough to go, yeah, that's Bush League. I'm going to throw my beer at you.
Well, yeah.
Me too.
It's the video of Richie Incognito walking through the pool hall, yelling and screaming that he wants to fight. He may be causing a disruption, but I'm not going to oblige just because he's causing a disruption.
Also, these are grown-ass men in the middle of a very, very combative sport in which the physical nature of it causes people to cross the line all the time, and they're paid handsomely to do so within the confines of that field. You, as a fan, have nothing to do with nothing short of yelling and cheering for your team or booing the other team. At no point, no matter what that player does, late hit on a quarterback, diving at a guy's knees, they all know what they signed up for. You at no point can say, well, you certainly can't challenge a player physically or throw things at them, no matter what they did to your favorite player or team on the field. It doesn't matter. I don't know how it ever occurs to anybody other than drunkenness.
I paid 1/100th of his game check.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. What are you doing here? You don't even golf.
Be that as it may, Jeff, my holiday spirit knows no bounds. I come bearing gifts.
Outstanding. What do you have there, sir?
3 gifts. Gold, frankincense, and mahi fingers for all. Gold and frankincense not included.
Very thoughtful of you, Eddie. You don't have to do this, man.
That's what we do, man. This is the holiday season. This is the time when you show the people you love and the people that you care about just how much they mean to you.
You're absolutely right. glad we get to share this with the community together.
Well, that's why I'm here, bud. Well, that. And I want to use that driver you got.
It's par 3, Eddie, not using the driver.
7!
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, only Mahindra, the makers of the toughest utility vehicles on earth, can give you the best year-end deal on earth. So let us show you how to get tax savings on your new Mahindra XTV and get cash back and savings up to $2,500 on select clearance models. Plus, get a free roof and Mahindra's 3-year warranty.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men on a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
At Whole Foods Market, we believe in real food. Food that's full of nutrients, naturally vivid and colorful, fresh and delicious. Food that connects you to your body, to the seasons, and to the natural world. We believe food should nourish you and help you think. It should help you feel calm, clear-headed, and strong. It should help you do more, sleep better, and wake up happier. That's food that lives up to its name. We believe in real food. Whole Foods Market.
Can't decide between fresh steak, seafood, or wings? Well, Miller's Ale House on Appalachia Parkway has it all. From center-cut sirloin and original pastas to fresh salads and favorites like Miller's Signature Zingers, tossed in your favorite sauce. Miller's Ale House has a full-service bar featuring more than 75 beers, plus wine and liquors. Bring the family to watch the big game inside or on their covered patio on one of over 60 HD TVs. However you come to relax, you will have a good time and great food at Miller's Ale House on Appalachia Parkway.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Hey, this is Travis with Parker Brothers Roofing. No one besides us wants to hear that you need a new roof. It's one of the biggest home improvements you have to make, and Parker Brothers Roofing understands. We now offer financing for 0% over 60 months. Yes, that's 5 years. Call us today for 5 years interest-free financing on that new roof. 656-8112. That's 656-8112, or go to parkerbrothersroofing.net.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
You're locked in with the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Now the watch is on as we wait for Willie Taggart to hire assistants and salvage a recruiting class. So, I think we all hold our breath. But the truth of the matter is, have you really worried? I haven't. Once the hiring was announced and once Willie was in play, you know what he is in terms of a recruiting, I would say guru, but a guy that is as respected in the state of Florida as a recruiter as anybody else. And he's going to do exceptionally well. He's popular with players. He was already recruiting really, really well out to Oregon. So as he noted in his press conference, now having got on the right side of that train, meaning the Garnet and Gold, I imagine he's going to flip plenty of kids and he's going to get a yes from plenty of kids. I'm not sitting over here wringing hands, but that is what we're all monitoring now, right? It's the countdown until you salvage a class that had fallen into the 40s.
Yeah, I think if you can get it into the top 15, we're good here, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of us were of the mindset when Jimbo was going to have to make changes. That's when we thought Jimbo was still going to be the head coach here. The thought was, well, this train's off the tracks a little bit. We've had as disappointing a season as you can have, and he's got to fire some coaches and bring in new guys, and that's going to create a level of destabilization, and that means kids don't like that, and kids are going to want to know, what their future entails. So they'll go other places. They'll commit to other places, and we may have a lost class. I mean, we were willing to accept that you just may have a lost class by Florida State standards. You'll fall out of the top 7. You'll bring in a class around 22nd. He'll make the changes necessary. It's a bump in the road, and you'll survive and move on. If you consider that you were willing to accept that because you knew that the changes were what was necessary and you could survive it because there were really good players already here, well, now do that and then add this infusion of life and a name that you know is popular with recruits. I think it's very reasonable to expect. And again, I don't work for recruiting sites, and it's not my area of expertise, but I do talk to those people, and most of those people would tell you they believe that it's certainly well within Willie Taggart's ability to procure a class in the top 20 for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And if you just flip, some of the kids he had from the state of Florida, from Oregon to Florida State, and I think all of them have decommitted. If not, then 2 of the major ones have at minimum. I mean, you're right back in the mix for a top 25 class. All you got to do is get a couple of names beyond that, and you're good to go.
Get the ones that had said they were coming to Florida State originally and then backed out when there was all this upheaval.
Sure.
I mean, just get those guys, or 3/4 of those guys
Yeah,
back.
exactly. Retain 60, 70% of those players. We'll see. I mean, I don't know how much he can do in 2.5 months or, 3 months, I guess, as the head man without a staff. Once he gets his staff on board, what do you have? A month, 5 weeks to, get some visits secured, get your in-home scheduled, and the official visits here on campus. I'm expecting somewhere in the neighborhood of 15. I just don't know that he's a miracle worker and can flip this thing up to number 5 or something like that. If he ever got Justin Fields, well, that changes everything, and you might have some people follow along, but that's a long shot. If he does, man, more power to him. But if he can just get this thing in the top 15 and then succeed next year, well, then watch what that class is going to be, because that'll be the big one.
I can't imagine. I was thinking to myself that when we were talking about this at the end of last week, because the rumor was that he's at least got Justin Fields' ear, right? That was the whole thing. Can you get a little time with the young man? Kind of express to him exactly what he would mean to this class and how you would utilize him, and could you woo him away? And I joked and said basically, hey, listen, if you're Georgia, given what you know that kid to be, I mean, it's time to break out the checkbook. Save for don't write a check. Don't do what what Georgia once did, by the way, as their basketball coach literally wrote checks.
Yeah, just write a proverbial check.
That's right. Yeah, it would be time to break out the checkbook if you get wind that perhaps that commitment isn't as secure as you thought it once was. He's that kind of a player, for those wondering. And I talked to 3 people over the weekend who were involved in the recruiting process when in covering the recruiting process when Jameis Winston was the guy that everybody was trying to bring in. And it was during that time that they had people tell them, and for their own eyes, they saw that he was the kind of player that you could almost, maybe not in pen because a lot of other things have to happen, but you could put in pencil that the team that got the yes from Jameis Winston, was going to win a national title. Now, it certainly helped that Jimbo did a great job of recruiting a whole lot of other really elite players all over the field.
At every position.
So that's not lost on me. But there it was. I mean, the icing on top, of course, was a transcendent quarterback. That this kid is akin to that, is talked about in that way. So, yeah, you're right. If Florida State somehow flips that kid, good Lord.
I don't know. Maybe I'm in the minority on this one, but I think that, as long as this class isn't a disaster, and by FSU standards, I think beyond 20 is a bit of a disaster, given what we've been here for since Jimbo started. All you got to do is have the right amount of success, the minimum level of success to show that we're moving in the right direction, which to me is 9 regular season wins next year, 9-10, somewhere in there. And then turn that into the next big class. So those are the bigger expectations for me. Flip this thing around, win somewhere, 9-3, 10-2 next season, and get your guys in here, get your system installed, win some big football games, beat your rivals, at least the in-state ones again, both of them, and then sell that vision to the kids. That's more important to me than this recruiting class, because you have a lot of players here that you can succeed with right now.
That's correct. Meanwhile, at Texas A&M, the first bit of bad news for Jimbo Fisher as starting defensive tackle. Zakoven Henderson has been suspended indefinitely already after he was arrested over the weekend on multiple charges, including aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Tough break there. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
TNT. Landowners, only Mahindra, the world's #1 selling tractor, can give you the #1 year-end deal. Let us show you how to get tax savings on the toughest tractors on earth and get up to $7,400 in discounts along with Mahindra's 7-year warranty. Plus, get an Emax 22 with mid-mower for just $134 a month. TNT.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Grill. What's on the menu at your home tonight?
Overly ambitious dinner.
There's nothing like trying a complicated recipe after a long day.
Overly ambitious dinner.
Wow, that looks nothing like the picture. If you like eating dinner at 9:45 at night, then you should try
Overly ambitious dinner.
That dinner will always be there, but Taco Bell's rolled chicken tacos are only here for a limited time. Shredded chicken, all rolled up with your choice of dip. At participating locations.
Landowners, only Mahindra, the world's #1 selling tractor, can give you the #1 year-end deal. Let Mahindra show you how to get tax savings on the toughest tractors on earth. And hurry in for up to $7,400 in special Mahindra cash back and savings.
North Florida and South Georgia's authorized Mahindra dealer is TNT Super Center, US 19 South in Thomasville, and at TNTSuperCenter.com.
Offer with approved credit. See dealer for details. Program restrictions may apply.
Tired of your normal two-piece kit? Build your own kit with Makita and Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Buy a 5 amp-hour starter pack and choose 2 free Bear Makita tools. If all you need is an impact driver and recip saw, then that is your kit. You also receive a 3-year warranty on lithium-ion tool and battery. Check out other Makita residential construction specials as well. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener is also your home for OSHA-compliant dust solutions for all your concrete needs. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, 1110 Stuckey Ave and 3269 Crawfordville Highway, Tallahassee location, open Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon.
Need a place to watch your favorite sporting event? Hobbit American Grill, voted best wings in Tallahassee by Tally Awards 3 years in a row. They have daily lunch specials, all under $9, happy hour drink specials, and happy hour on Friday, 2 p.m. to close. Darts are coming in January to West Pensacola Street. Hobbit American Grill keeps it local with a wide variety of locally crafted beers, plus a full bar. Hobbit American Grill, 3 locations to choose from: 400 Capitol Circle Southeast, 2020 West Pensacola Street, and 5032 Capitol Circle Southwest. Visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
This Day in Sports, brought to you by Superlube, 19 Tallahassee area locations. Quick, convenient, no appointment necessary. Get your history lesson weekdays at 5:30 during the Jeff Cameron Show, right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi, developing story. Another key injury for the Eagles to overcome, but this time it's to their franchise quarterback. NFL MVP favorite Carson Wentz has a torn ACL and will miss the rest of the season. In his absence, the Eagles turn to Nick Foles. Even without Wentz, Philly can still make a deep playoff run if it acclimates Foles into the fold of the offense, explains ESPN's Ryan Clark.
If they allow the running game to lead, the defense to play, win with special teams, this team can be as competitive as any other team in the NFC. Nick Foles is a guy who started in this league, and we saw with the plays yesterday at the end of the game, he's poised, he understands his offense, and this team can still be very formidable in the playoffs.
The NFL and NFLPA have initiated a joint investigation into the concussion protocol for the hit on Texans QB Tom Savage. Savage took a hard hit yesterday, was allowed back for one series after being evaluated for a concussion. He was ultimately pulled. Bills QB Tyrod Taylor remains day-to-day with a knee injury. The Patriots clinched their 9th straight AFC East title with a win over the Dolphins on Monday Night Football, 8:30 Eastern, ESPN TV.
Still looking for that perfect gift? Dell has something for everyone on your list. From the best brands of electronics to the hottest laptops with Intel Core processors and the latest gaming PCs. And did we mention there's free shipping on everything? Call 800-BUY-DELL. That's 800-BUY-DELL.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Experamac of Tallahassee. Experamac, Tallahassee's trusted tech source for Apple. Stopping at 346 South Magnolia Drive or call at 765-2012 today.
It was a bad look for the NFL this weekend. There were some fun moments and some good games, but just listening to that local sports center reminds me of that talking point, which is the hit that Tom Savage, quarterback for the Texans, suffered at the hands of Elvis Duberville. The hit in and of itself wasn't so bad as much as what happened afterwards, which is a league that has really tried to focus hard on protocol, right? What you do to assess possible concussions and how you protect players in a very violent game. That now that we've gotten our arms around the idea that this is a violent game and that we do have to, confront the realization that it can cause brain damage, period. Especially if you're not doing the right things, if you're not protecting players and making sure that they're not allowed back into football games after they've suffered what appears to be a fairly obvious concussion, at the very least some form of brain damage. And how do you know it's brain damage? Well, when a guy's laying on the ground and his hands are twitching uncontrollably, I think you got a pretty good handle on the fact that my man's concussed. My man's messed up. Something's wrong. and how nobody saw that and he was allowed to go back in the game makes you question their protocol. It's a violent hit to the head. He's left on his back. His hands are noticeably twitching. The cameras zoom in on it. It's part of the broadcast. And how is it possible that, given the heightened sense of awareness regarding this injury in the sport and the need to protect players and the sport long-term, that was allowed to happen yet again after we heard the announcement there would be people who were in the stadium expressly to make sure that they could zero in on guys who suffer big hits and make sure they're not exuding signs that they've been concussed.
Yeah, they're terrible at it, and they've been terrible at it. They've had that rule for a couple of years, and I believe it was Case Keenum, right? In a different life, it feels like for him.
Oh, like picked up and slammed.
He was dragged by his arm like back to the huddle. They're like, all right, let's get him back in the huddle.
Buddy, yeah.
All right, let's get him off the floor here. And after that game, there was an uproar, and the NFL investigated why it is that this player was allowed back in the game or to continue in the game. I mean, they've had incidents where the optics looked terrible before, and it wasn't 10 years ago. It was like a season or two ago.
He checked into the sideline medical tent, emerged after less than 3 minutes, re-entered the game for the next series. He threw 2 incomplete passes. His team failed to get a first down. He tried to come back for the next series, was seen arguing with team officials before being escorted to the locker room. TJ Yates replaced him. The Texans lost the game 26-16. So far with your boy Garoppolo, they're 2-0 in San Francisco, and he actually had a good game.
It's a good-looking offense.
It's well, they got a quarterback.
Yeah.
The point is, by the way, did you see? I think that he is now in his career and in spot starts and everything else included. I think he's like 8-0.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and because Marquise Goodwin is a burner,
play a little bit.
You know, that's a number 11 for San Francisco as everybody's reacquainting with the San Francisco 49ers.
Well, they're going to upset somebody at the end of this year that's in playoff contention.
Well, sure. I mean, okay, how much of a difference does a quarterback make?
Oh,
you know,
a
ton
lot.
of a difference. And look at the first 2 months of the season. You know, San Francisco is a score away from winning, 4 or 5 ball games?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they just won 1 or 2 of them, my prediction that they win 6 games, it could have been had. It could have been there.
But alas, you made that prediction before they ever went out and got that quarterback.
No, I know. I thought Reuben Foster would be healthy. Now that guy's a game changer too, and he's on the defensive side of the ball.
The NFL spokesman, Joe Lockhart, who met with the league, reporters in the conference call today, said the league and NFL Players Association would not only look into how Savage was evaluated for a possible concussion, but also reassess the protocol that the league has used now for the last several years to see if it can be strengthened. Well, I'd say, but so much about what needs to be fixed with the NFL is self-explanatory. You don't have to be a genius to figure out some ways to make this product better. And whether that's the replay situation, which is absurd, I'll comment more on that later in the show. The Detroit situation with the Bucs in the first quarter of that game was insane. And it's not an isolated incident. It's something that occurs every weekend, multiple times. I go back to when replay came to the league and when replay was ratcheted up, when they moved beyond whether or not something was a catch or a fumble or inbounds and out of bounds and began to review more plays. They promised us in that effort that it would only take no more than 2 minutes, that a replay couldn't last more than 2 minutes, that if they could not discern the truth about the play, the situation in 2 minutes, then the call on the field stood no matter how egregious it appeared to all of us, and we moved on. But that simply hasn't been the case. And when you watch NFL football games now, there's a good chance you're going to be delayed by a review call at least once, if not twice, a game for more than 5 to 7 minutes at a time, completely screeching to a halt any momentum the game had. It's awful.
No, it's like they've never been trained to do it before. Whoever's in this protocol, the whole system, it's just a mess. It's like trying to watch an American citizen, take on the Chinese national spelling bee. It's like you have no other jobs. You don't have to have one. You have enough money to be a full-time official. I get some of these guys have day jobs. They're doctors and lawyers, and Sterator's a Big Ten official for the college basketball. Dude, you make over $100,000 a year for this job.
I think you kind of got to make them full-time and just be done with this.
But you make over 100 G's a year. They fly you around the country to call high-profile games.
I don't think it's easy. I mean,
when you have the replay review in front of you?
No, but that's That's part of the league's breakdown. I don't understand what the people in New York are telling these guys, because we know they can talk to them, and we know that they're able to get a look at it. Just some things happen so fast. I get it. You missed it. Let somebody in New York tell you, but what the hell are they doing in New York?
Nobody's denying that, a holding or a chop block or, pass interference, defensive holding, offensive pass interference, that these aren't all difficult calls to make. They are. And at the speed of the moment, at the speed that these guys play at,
it's crazy.
It's crazy difficult. But, when you get to the monitor, that should be the easy part. It's like, oh, well, thank goodness for the monitor. We would have blown this call otherwise. I'm glad we have the monitor.
But even the monitor, what I'm saying is that's fine. I agree with you. You and I watch a football game. The average fan watches a football game, and they see a play, and they go, that's a catch, that's a drop, that's a whatever it is. Although that's another problem the NFL has, because what's a catch and what's not is really up for debate every week. But that said, there is somebody in New York. They're looking at these plays. They have the ability to radio down and say, Jerry, you missed it. Your guys missed it. He's out of bounds. 2nd and 10, balls on the 22. It's just not hard. But they don't ever do that, or seemingly they don't. I don't know what they're doing. I'd like to know what the hell they're talking about, because it doesn't get done. By the way, as for the concussion protocol, that they were ratcheting up for the right reasons, as we all knew. Here's the thing. This is a game where you cannot avoid concussions. You're going to have it. When guys this big, this strong, this fast hit one another, it's a small car accident. You're going to have concussions. Fine. If you want the game to survive, players go into the sport knowing that this is a possibility. Gotcha. Okay, so we're all understanding what's at stake here. Could get hurt. Got it. Here's the deal. Now we have a protocol in place where we can ensure that if, in fact, you suffer said concussion, you're not going back on the field, because we know the subconcussive problems of the league in the past are what lead to CTE. We know that if you've had a concussion, haven't completely healed from that, and you go back out and suffer another concussion, that is what ratchets up the opportunity or the chances down the line that you're going to have CTE. Now, this incident with Savage is easy and disgusting. It should have been easily recognizable and preventable. That didn't happen. Russell Wilson earlier this year with the Seahawks did not go through the concussion protocol despite that hit you saw during a game against Arizona. The NFL is in the process of reviewing that case. He was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs when he came off the field. Didn't look right. Everybody could see it. He went right back on the field. His jaw was dislocated, for Christ's sakes. They still didn't get that right. All right, Kobe Fleener was initially not checked for a concussion despite a helmet-to-helmet hit that saw in the defender was penalized the whole deal. He was diagnosed with a concussion later in the game, but had already played 3 more series in said game despite being clearly concussed. Jacoby Brissett was hit in the head, very slow to get up, evaluated on the sideline for a few minutes, was judged fit to play about a half hour later. Symptoms emerged. He was then diagnosed later in the game with a concussion after playing multiple series. I can keep going. There's like 5 or 6 of these this year alone where guys are either twitching or stumbling off the field. I can't fathom how difficult this must be, I guess, to diagnose a concussion. I'm not a doctor. I'm sure it's more difficult than I'm giving it credit for. But when I see a dude loopy, falling all over himself, or his hands are twitching, probably doesn't need to go back in the game.
It has nothing to do with being a doctor or not being a doctor. What it has to do with is there's a reluctance and a pressure to when in question, keep a player off the field.
Well, I know the player wants to go back out. That's why you have to protect the player from themselves.
But it's not good enough to say, I'm not so sure you're out. You like that. I get the sense, given how many 50-50 situations you're talking about and that we've seen just in the flow of a game. Hell, in college, maybe in Tallahassee a couple of times in recent years, you've seen somebody get dinged and they continue to play. Man, there is a reluctance, unless it is absolutely diagnosed on the sidelines where it's obvious to the doctor and he can say without any pushback, yeah, he's done. When in question, right, is something we talk about often with officiating, and officials try and get way too involved these days. The late Doug Rhodes once told us in 2012 at the ACC meetings, when in question on this particular play, throw a flag. To me, it seems like the NFL, when there's a question about concussion, but you're not certain they have a concussion, you go back out and you play. I don't think the burden is not on the doctor's side, is my point.
Yeah, that seems to be what's happening. You've had plenty of doctors say, by the way, they think that players, when in doubt, should sit for 10 minutes on the sidelines to give doctors a better feel for whether or not the symptoms, disorientation, dizziness, those kinds of things.
10 minutes, nothing. It's 3rd and 3. I need you now.
No,
that's
I get
the idea.
But here's the thing. Bill O'Brien said this. Bill O'Brien said after the game that, hey, I'm not in charge of looking at him in that situation. I asked them, what do we do? Is he okay? What's going to happen? I mean, he goes, I'm not in charge of those decisions. When the doctors come to me and say, okay, then I put him back in the game. I don't think coaches want to be responsible for that. They get it. They know their emotions.
This can be a difficult issue when you're right down the middle in the gray area. What you have to do is you have to protect the player. And for site liability, how many things in this world do we have to do? How many papers do we have to sign or hoops do we have to jump through because the almighty liability? And we lament it. We say, oh, people want to sue for everything. Just give me the test or just let me do this. Man, the NFL is in a position after lying to the players or not telling them
for
the whole
years and years, yes.
When in question, the guy's got to. If he's Tom Brady, I'm sorry. You know, and I think that's what they're afraid of, is that a star player in a key moment is going to be held out because they're not certain whether or not he has a concussion. And that's why I think guys go back out on the field.
All I'll say is if I've got a guy laying on the ground, in this case Tom Savage, and his hands are shaking, those are signs of a seizure. I'm fairly certain we know he shouldn't be back in the game. And as one doctor pointed out after this game, people die all the time for second impact injuries when already concussed. I mean, you can't. 2 plays, they let him back in 2 plays. His hands were shaking.
Well, that one's a ridiculous example. I mean,
that's hard to watch.
That's not even the discussion. That's just like stupid.
That's hard to watch.
But think about how many basic things, not Monday morning quarterback. You should have done this way. How many basic things does the NFL get wrong? From player discipline with, the way Goodell handles scenarios to concussions, the way they handled that, not being transparent with the players.
I feel like we're reminded of this time of year every year now.
To replay.
What we do is we turn the page from college football now over to pro football, at least in this region. Other parts of the country, we're focused in on NFL football at all times. But I think our total attention gets turned to the NFL as soon as college football ends or winds down to this point. And so we get locked back in, and we see all the things that piss us off about the league. And we're reminded that the product currently isn't all that entertaining. It's not all that good. And we want it to be because we grew up watching this game and we love football. And we want football to make it. We want football to survive. We want football to be as safe as it can be. It's not unlike what you hear from people who love any kind of auto racing, NASCAR, whatever it might be. Like, there's an inherent risk to driving 200 miles per hour. You can flip your car, and all the safety devices in the world may not save you, but you want it to be as safe as possible, so you enact change. But if you're going to do that, I mean, you at least have to enforce your own rules that you rightfully enacted. You've got people. You have a protocol in place with doctors looking on. My man's in a fencing posture, they call it, which is what you do when you've been concussed. The whole world could see it. The people on the field are looking at him like, oh, good Lord, is this guy going to die on the field?
Yeah, if you want to carry that analogy with NASCAR, I think, but the way the NFL is getting involved in the game now, it's like changing the driver's top speeds to 80 miles an hour.
Putting a governor on it?
Yeah, like a big-time governor on it. I'm talking about because who was it for the Steelers last week that went off in the locker room? I forget who it was. No. I'm in the locker room talking about, let me play the game. Just let me play the game.
Yeah.
What is this? I get fined $50,000 because a quarterback can't throw a ball accurately.
Right.
Andy Dalton threw to Tyler Eifert.
Right.
It's like, because he can't throw a ball or he throws a stupid pass, you're going to fine me $50,000. That's insane. That speaks so much truth to the situation right now of where we are in football.
You have a problem because you affect the integrity of the game when you over-officiate, and yet you have plays like this where you have a player's safety in mind and you have a protocol in place and you don't follow it, and so a guy is getting second impact. Is that danger to second impact syndrome? Okay.
And I'm listening to this discussion, and it's needed, but it's also a crappy discussion. You're like, well, okay, so we have to talk about the fact that the NFL is talking too much,
Yeah,
we're not talking about the NFC playoff picture now that Wentz is hurt. We have to deal with this again. It's just really annoying on all fronts.
But it's every year right now, and I don't know what they're going to – well, this is part of the larger discussion about what's going to happen to football. What's going to happen to football? I don't know that you can get it right. I don't need it to be perfect. I think they've overstepped their bounds numerous times on just hey, listen, this defenseless receiver rule is largely absurd. I mean, well, we're going to go in circles. We're going to keep going. It'll never stop.
Because they don't want to fix it.
I don't think they know how. They're almost like hands to the air at this point. I don't know if they know how to fix it. Well, they're going to walk back those safety precautions after they've spent the last 3 years trying to tell everybody how sincerely they are and invested in these players' futures?
What I'm saying is it's like a tax code or something.
Right,
They're trying to fix one rule with 7 more rules.
Yeah, no, that's true. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, only Mahindra, the makers of the toughest utility vehicles on Earth, can give you the best year-end deal on Earth. So let us show you how to get tax savings on your new Mahindra XTV and get cash back and savings up to $2,500 on select clearance models. Plus, get a free roof and Mahindra's 3-year warranty.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Of your normal 2-piece kit? Build your own kit with Makita and Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Buy a 5 amp hour starter pack and choose 2 free bare Makita tools. If all you need is an impact driver and recip saw, then that is your kit. You also receive a 3-year warranty on lithium-ion tool and battery. Check out other Makita residential construction specials as well. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener is also your home for OSHA-compliant dust solutions for all your concrete needs. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, 1110 Stuckey Ave and 3269 Crawfordville Highway, Tallahassee location, open Saturdays 8 a.m. to noon.
Can't decide between fresh steak, seafood, or wings? Well, Miller's Ale House on Appalachia Parkway has it all. From center-cut sirloin and original pastas to fresh salads and favorites like Miller's Signature Zingers, tossed in your favorite sauce. Miller's Ale House has a full-service bar featuring more than 75 beers, plus wine and liquors. Bring the family to watch the big game inside or on their covered patio on one of over 60 HD TVs. However you come to relax, you will have a good time and great food at Miller's Ale House on Appalachia Parkway.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer. 574-4100. And presented by TNT Supercenter in Thomasville, Georgia. And Franklin Spring Creek Ford. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi, developing story. Another key injury for the Eagles to overcome, but this time it's to their franchise quarterback. NFL MVP favorite Carson Wentz has a torn ACL and will miss the rest of the season. In his absence, the Eagles turn to Nick Foles. Even without Wentz, Philly can still make a deep playoff run if it acclimates Foles into the fold of the offense, explains ESPN's Ryan Clark.
If they allow the running game to lead, the defense to play, win with special teams, this team can be as competitive as any other team in the NFC. Nick Foles is a guy who started in this league, and we saw with the plays yesterday at the end of the game, he's poised, he understands his offense, and this team can still be very formidable in the playoffs.
The NFL and NFLPA have initiated a joint investigation into the concussion protocol for the hit on Texans QB Tom Savage. Savage took a hard hit yesterday, was allowed back for one series after being evaluated for a concussion. He was ultimately pulled. Bills QB Tyrod Taylor remains day-to-day with a knee injury. The Patriots clinched their 9th straight AFC East title with a win over the Dolphins on Monday Night Football, 8:30 Eastern, ESPN TV.
Still looking for that perfect gift? Dell has something for everyone on your list. From the best brands of electronics to the hottest laptops with Intel Core processors and the latest gaming PCs. And did we mention there's free shipping on everything? Call 800-BUY-DELL. That's 800-BUY-DELL.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Experamac of Tallahassee. Experamac, Tallahassee's trusted tech source for Apple. Stopping at 346 South Magnolia Drive or call at 765-2012 today.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Good Monday. Hope you had a good weekend. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. That's always, if you miss anything, we'll post all 3 hours of the program as soon as we finish it, both to iTunes and our own audio vault. You can always email us, jcs at 979espnradio.com. Find me on Twitter at jcameronshow. WTSM app. Also, you can watch us do the show, of course, on YouTube, ESPN Tallahassee there. Let's bring him in, our good friend, Irashfel, warchant.com. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm good, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you going to put up with Corey Clark that much more than you already do, my friend?
It's always an adventure, man. It's like the mob. You try to get out, and we'll just drag you back in.
Our friend Corey Clark has been added to warchant.com. It's not like it's any different for you. You already saw him probably too much as it is. But for those wondering, Seminole Headline's not going anywhere, and now 2 great writers on staff there as you and Corey do your thing, and it should be fun. Speaking of writing and covering Florida State, I guess right now we just sit back and wait on the latest information regarding what Willie Taggart will do in terms of putting together his staff and also what he can do to salvage a recruiting class. We suspect that he will. What's the latest you're hearing on Willie Taggart's impact in the early stages of it?
Yeah, it sounds like everything's been positive, but I think if people were hoping for like a big splash where he would run out and turn a bunch of recruits from other schools, I don't think that was the plan. I think the first stages of the plan were to kind of shore up what they already have and kind of alleviate any concerns. Because one of the big questions a lot of these guys have, a lot of the recruits have, even the kids who are committed, is he going to honor their commitment? And so earlier today, Stacey Kirby, a defensive end out of South Florida, announced he was decommitting. It sounds like that was kind of a mutual decision that he wasn't going to be part of the plans going forward. So you have some of those situations. You also have kids that Willie Taggart's definitely going to want to keep, and he's going to be reassuring those guys. And he did that the other day, of course, with obviously Robert Cooper and Georgia and Amari Gaynor and some of those guys. So I think that's kind of the low hanging fruit. I think that was the first order of business. Then once that's all secure, I think that's when you'll start to see him going out and trying to pick up new recruits.
So Ira, I'm wondering, it would appear that Amari Gaynor was one of the very first guys, obviously, he talked to, and partly because he's here locally, and it was important to make sure that he was comfortable with his commitment to Florida State. But isn't it also true because Amari Gaynor is one of the guys, the linebacker from Charles, that is most vocal in attempting to help recruit other players throughout the state?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, Amari Gaynor was a big commitment when he did announce it, and he's one of those guys that the coaches the former coaching staff really wanted him to commit early. He did commit back in, I think, late spring. The idea is you want to get a couple of those guys who have the big personalities, the guys who like talking to the other recruits. They're going to work the phones, be loyal, can get messages out to the other kids. They like to get those kids to commit early as possible. And it's important in those kids. I mean, it's an honor to some degree for them to be chosen in that role because the coaches, give them that honor. On the other side, they're giving up something. They're kind of giving up the ability to go on all their visits and be wooed by everybody else. And so, he's a guy that committed early, but, once there was changes on the coaching staff, he started, talking about maybe taking some other visits. So, yeah, he was important to get in there and, get him back on board 100%. And then, again, because he's a guy that can go recruit for the coaches.
So at the end of the day, Willie Taggart's first goal was to procure, again, the commitments of people they once had, may have lost, or those that were teetering on the edge. Lock that down, get some of the more vocal proponents for Florida State in his corner, and then from there really continue to attack the Southeast, maybe not flip a bunch of people, but again, get those guys that are decommitted. And then what's the latest on, everybody's going to ask you this, everybody's going to ask anybody that works at War Chant this, the thought that maybe he could make a run at Justin Fields, the very talented quarterback verbally committed to Georgia. What are you hearing regarding that?
All that we're hearing is that, that's something that they're going to do. But I think Justin Fields, if you look at the process, even originally when Florida State was really heavily involved with him, is he's a guy that kind of, I think, keeps things a little bit close to the vest. They're very thorough. He and his father, they do a good job of really researching what's out there. And I think that, certainly Georgia, they got a bunch of kids that are friends with his committed, friends of his that are committed as well. So I don't think that's going to be an easy pull. But at the same time, they've got a great freshman quarterback. Florida State's got a little uncertainty at quarterback. So I think FSU's got a chance there, but it doesn't sound like anything's going to happen in the next week or so.
As to the staff that Willie Taggart puts together, Ira, what are you hearing about a timeline? Also, beyond, let's just say, Odell Haggins, who are you hearing about maybe guys carrying over and remaining on Willie Taggart's staff? Who's possibly going to do that, and who is likely all but gone?
Well, I think most of them are all but gone.
Yeah.
I think, for the most part, it's obviously Charles Kelly looks like he's interviewing at some other schools.
Colorado State offered him, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you've got, Jay Graham's already on his way to Texas A&M, or he's already at Texas A&M. Then you've got the, Rick Trickett's recruiting for Florida State, but nobody's expecting him to stay on board. So I think most of them are going to be gone. I think the only real question I have, that we haven't heard for sure of is, is a guy like Lawrence Dawsey, is there a possibility he stays with the program either in his current role as receivers coach or maybe another role? He's been out recruiting with, Coach Taggart as well. But, nothing definitive, man. I really think that his number one goal really was the recruiting stuff. And I think that he's got a lot of possibilities with the coaching staff. And I know that, you look at, Jim Leavitt out at Oregon, maybe coming in as a coordinator. A lot of these things are going to depend on what other options are available to them, and what does Oregon offer him to stay? What does somebody else come along? So I don't think we have clarity on any of that really. And I think the timing is actually going to work out pretty well, where Oregon will finish up playing about the 16th or 17th. I think then he'll have a really good grasp on those assistants and who he can bring in. And then I think that may determine a little bit of what he does here.
Basketball team keeps winning, man, and I love this team because I think they're tough, and I think they have enough guys that any given night can continue to contribute when a guy's having an off night. For example, obviously, you look at a guy like C.J. Walker, who had been playing so well, and then he has an off day, and Florida State's able to get contributions from other guys in his place. And Phil Kofer had been shooting really well. He has a tough day against Tulane, goes 2 of 8, and doesn't shoot the ball well, and yet they get Angola to score 18. Trent Forrest steps up and plays really, really well. This is a team that doesn't have a particular superstar, but they have a lot of pieces that work really well together. In your mind, through these first 8, of which they've won every one of them, how good do you think this basketball team is?
I think they got a chance to be really good. I was watching that game yesterday, and going into it, I actually thought that was going to be kind of a tough game for FSU. I wasn't surprised that it was close in the first half. But FSU, didn't really play all that well. They weren't as sharp as they have been, and they still, in the second half, were up by 20. They've got because they defend so well, and as long as they keep doing that, that's going to keep them in great position against most teams. And then it's just a matter of when they get going offensively. And I thought that was a game where, as you said, I thought they had some pretty poor offensive possessions in that game. Several possessions where Cabangeli rushed shots, or different guys took shots early. They didn't pass the ball as much. They've kind of forced some things a little bit offensively, but once they kind of got in sync, just for a stretch of 5 or 10 minutes, man, they just explode and they kind of run away. And so yeah, I'm super impressed. Again, that game yesterday impressed me because I didn't think they played all that well, and that's a decent team. And they kind of cruise through it.
They're fun to watch too. I just can't press upon people enough if they haven't had a chance to tune in. They're still locked in on football. That they're just a fun team to watch because they play with an awful lot of effort and they've got length and they disrupt folks. They're a fun team. We'll talk in the coming days about that. Good talking to you as always, brother. Be well.
Thanks, Jeff. See you, man.
All right, take care. That's IrishFLWarChant.com. I said 8-0. I meant to tell you that Florida State is 9-0. That's the second best start in program history. We began 10-0 in 03-04. And are one of just 7 Division I teams, by the way, in the country currently that remain unbeaten. Villanova, number 1, is unbeaten. Arizona State is also unbeaten. They just beat Kansas, by the way, at Fog Allen yesterday. So they knocked Kansas from the unbeaten group. Miami is still undefeated, ranked in the top 10. TCU is undefeated. Mississippi State, who's not currently ranked, is undefeated, and so is Georgetown, also not currently ranked. That's because number 1 Duke was upset at Boston College, and Texas A&M lost to Arizona in Phoenix over the weekend. So the AP poll and the coaches poll came out today, and what you get is Florida State ranked at number 19, our first appearance in either poll this season. But, this has been a group that it's funny. You go back to last year, obviously, we had our fair share of games or weeks and weekly stretches where we kept pinching ourselves and talking about, wow, this team is ranked. Wow, we're watching a team that is ranked rightfully so and should be and is favored in a lot of games these days. And every now and again, after you remind yourself that that's just not what we were for 4 years prior to that, it's nice again to be involved in a season where you lose 3 guys, 2 to the NBA that you think, well, I don't know where the scoring's going to come from, and yet here you are, number 19 in the country, and you've been a lot of fun to watch. It's good times.
Yeah, I think no matter who you talk to in the preseason this year, whether or not they thought, we'd make the tournament, we'd be a bubble team in, out, whatever it is, just about everybody thought this would be a better team by the end of the season.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
If you're capable of finishing the job here in non-conference play and picking up a big win on Saturday over Oklahoma State, and then, making your way into ACC play with all that kind of momentum and a little bit of breathing room, man, we might surprise people later in the year. I think that's still true. The surprise may not be as great now because we're ranked and we're in the top 20, but from the skill standpoint, we're not refined yet. From an effort standpoint, how we play defense, that is right up to par. That's where it needs to be. So don't let us get hot and start shooting from the perimeter at any point this year, because then we're a really, really dangerous team. And Chris Kamaje's missed all this time too, and he's a big piece of the puzzle.
Well, he's especially a defensive force and a guy that will alter a lot of shots, and we already have players that do that. As you just mentioned, now Florida State takes some time off. They next play on the 16th, so 5 days, and then they'll take on Oklahoma State, 2 o'clock down in Sunrise. If you can get that win, again, when you look at the remaining non-conference schedule before you launch into the ACC, which is ruthless right from the get-go, but if you can get this win over Oklahoma State, you'd like to believe you're going to be 12-0 in non-conference entering the ACC. You'd have, after this game, a game on the 18th, which is a week from now. That's Monday, and that'll be a fun game to go to. Florida State hosting, finally. Charleston Southern, who comes in here at 7 o'clock a week from today. And then Southern Miss that Thursday. Also, we're hosting that game on the 21st, if you're still in town and you haven't left for Christmas plans or whatever it might be. But that's again, a 7 o'clock game on a Thursday against Southern Miss.
Was that a hint of some kind?
No. I'm going to go if you'd like to join me.
Okay. I didn't know if we'd still be in town as a show here. You know?
The show may not be in town, but you and I may very well be in town to enjoy ourselves a little basketball.
Some whispers that we have a suite this year for ACC play.
That's true. And then ACC play begins on the 30th. Won't be here for that. I know that. I'll be in Miami. But I will tell you this, that Florida State Duke, that's on the road, I should say.
Yeah.
Florida State Duke to start the season on the road, 2 o'clock. But it's Duke, it's North Carolina, it's Miami, who's currently number 6 in the country, and Louisville, followed by Syracuse. So it's good that they're off to a good start. Let's put it that way. Because, again, I don't want to make the mistake I did last year. We all thought, almost to a man, understandably so, given what the slate was, that, okay, going to need to get off to a good start in the non-conference, off to a brutal stretch thanks to the ACC schedule makers to begin the year, and God, if we could just go 2-4 in this 6-game stretch, we'd be okay. Little did we know we'd be great and win those games and put ourselves in a position to start talking about larger accomplishments as opposed to just making the tournament, right? Well, this year I kind of go into it with the same sort of trepidation, but understanding that, hey, Duke just lost to Boston College, and you know, you look around the country, you see weird things all the time, and we're playing hard, so I'm not going to assume anything here. But we played Duke, North Carolina, Miami, and Louisville in the first 4 games in ACC play. Thank you, ACC schedule makers.
I wonder what next year will hold, because it was 6 in a row ranked opponents last year.
Well, Tom, I think I've got an advanced copy. That's probably going to be Duke, North Carolina, Louisville, and Duke.
And North Carolina.
And North Carolina. Yeah, that's how bury them. Can we just bury these guys already?
Then a home and home with Notre Dame.
There you go. Jeff Cameron Show 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men on a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, only Mahindra, the world's #1 selling tractor, can give you the #1 year-end deal. Let us show you how to get tax savings on the toughest tractors on earth and get up to $7,400 in discounts along with Mahindra's 7-year warranty. Plus, get an Emax 22 with mid-mower for just $134 a month.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
CVS Pharmacy and save big on all the little things you need this holiday. Restrictions apply. See circular for details.
Out on the golf course, there are the obvious hazards. There's the pond, the bunker, the rough, the even rougher.
Yeah, put me down for an 8.
The giant maples. The row of houses out of bounds on the right. The angry flock of geese who've surrounded your ball. Even the occasional groundskeeper you had no clue was there. But if you think you found every possible hazard out there, think again. The hazard you missed could actually be a killer. It's the spot on your skin. the one that could be skin cancer. Fact is, if you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills one person every hour. 1 in 5 Americans is likely to develop a form of skin cancer during their lifetime. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. It could be the save of a lifetime. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
It's Golic and Wingo. The one thing that I think defines the Patriots' greatness more than anything is their ability to probably end up in the AFC Championship game no matter who gets injured besides Tom Brady. Chris Hogan, Julian Edelman, Dante Hightower. They have the ability to overcome massive injuries better than any team I think I have ever seen at any level in any sport.
Golic and Wingo, weekday mornings from 7 to 10 on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Nice shot there, Dickie Lang. I'm sure you'll get out of the bunker this time. Here's Cameron from 160. Maybe a 9-iron. No, it's an 8-iron. Probably just hitting it 3/4.
It's the season for some Gordos. La 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 la.
Eddie? What in the world are you doing here? You don't even golf.
Be that as it may, Jeff, my holiday spirit knows no bounds. I come bearing gifts.
Outstanding. What do you have there, sir?
3 gifts. Gold, frankincense, and mahi fingers for all. Gold and frankincense not included.
Very thoughtful of you, Eddie. You don't have to do this, man.
That's what we do, man. This is the holiday season. This is the time when you show the people you love and the people that you care about just how much they mean to you.
You're absolutely right. I'm glad we get to share this with the community together.
Well, that's why I'm here, bud. Well, that. And I want to use that driver you got.
It's par 3, Eddie. Not using the driver.
7!
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
You're listening to The Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Odd timing to have a golf story, but they finally did something right. We're talking about organizations and leagues that need to do things right. The U.S. Golf Association, R&A, announcing they no longer will accept calls or emails from fans who think they've spotted rules violations. They're just done with it. They already made rules changes after they absolutely brutalized poor Lexi Thompson for misplacing her ball by less than a quarter of an inch, and they. By the way, that occurred. If you go back to this Lexi Thompson thing, I understand a lot of our listeners do not care anything about the LPGA. I understand.
It's legislation in Sports Monday.
But let me say this: more people should be really angry, I think, about that. Unless I don't know something about that story that would shed a new light on it.
No.
What happened was somebody sent a TV viewer emailed the LPGA's fan feedback address, which is really kind of crazy anyhow. But the person did this, and when they did that, they told on Lexi Thompson, who I guess put her ball back down a quarter of an inch off of where it was supposed to be. That infraction cost her 4 strokes, which cost her a major title. And if you recall, she finished around weeping, the whole deal. All right. So they relaxed the rules after that. The USGA realized, well, this is absurd. We've got, armchair people just waiting to find somebody accidentally screwing something up by a quarter of an inch or whatever, and then we're acting on it and costing these people titles. So what they said was basically, if we looked at close video scrutiny and somebody had put their ball back and we don't think they were trying to screw it up and it's a millimeter here or there, we're not going to fault the players anymore. We get it. It can happen. Or if the ball moves by, it's not even discernible for the human eye, and video replay, is the only way you can tell. We're not gonna find players or cost them strokes. But now they've come out and said that the governing bodies have gotten together and said, in conjunction with the PGA Tour, the LPGA, the PGA European Tour, Ladies European Tour, PGA of America, all of them have come out and said, that's it, we're done with this. You losers, save your phone calls, save your emails. I don't care if you see a person take a ball from the fairway and run it up 15 yards and set it down. We're not taking your call, although that would be pretty funny. We're not taking your calls or your emails because you suck. We're not doing that. You can no longer impact an actual PGA Tour, LPGA Tour, European Tour, any kind of tour event. You just watch as you should be anyhow.
I agree there. The USGA is a lot like a bad officiating crew in football. When there's a high-leverage play, and look at yesterday's Bucs-Lions game. How many high-leverage plays were called back by mediocre penalties, ticky-tack penalties at best? First downs, big plays down the field.
Huge plays, by the way.
Yes.
Huge plays.
Turnovers. You know, they actually re-legislated the one correctly. But, you know, the USGA has long been known as a gotcha association. Like, you know, if they can inject themselves into the conversation by using the guise of the spirit of the game as their reasoning, they want to be front and center. Basketball officials do this all the time with block charges. Yeah. Joey Crawford. I mean, what are we doing here? You know, who are the two guys?
Lucky,
Jamie Lucky, and
Lucky's my favorite.
Yeah, and the
Whoa,
other,
right,
and Teddy.
Yeah,
Teddy Valentine. That's what the USGA is
I just
about.
call him Teddy.
Yeah.
I knew who you were talking about.
Yeah, well, of course.
Yeah, well, Teddy indeed.
That's take center stage, Teddy.
There he is.
Yeah.
We all know take center stage.
Well, the USGA's been like that forever and a day. To me, this means somebody else got involved or a new voice is in the room because that's a distinct difference in approach from where it used to be.
It's cool. They got everybody in agreement. They can never seem to agree on anything. They got everybody going, yep, yeah, that's good. Yeah, we're getting rid of this nonsense. Stop it. It's ridiculous. Imagine the person whose life it is to just sit there and slowly look at these things on replay time and again.
Well, just apply it to a different sport. I mean, let's just say that they could have gone back after the game was over last night between the Jags and the Seahawks, where that fourth down play, the slot receiver got yanked to the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, what if they could go back and say, well, you know what?
That's clearly a penalty
We
there.
received a call from Steve in
Albuquerque, and he was furious, and, you know, he was right.
He's right. So
yeah, good on you,
let's
Steve.
get back out there. It's 1st and 10. We'll spot the foul 10 yards from the previous spot, and Seattle still has the ball here.
Yeah, man, I've been saying that I know it's not a great talking point, but that situation with Lexi Thompson, man, she lost a major. A major.
Yeah, they tried to take one away from Dustin at the U.S. Open, and they did take away one at the PGA.
Well, right. Although I will say the one at the PGA, that seemed less about somebody phoning in, hey, man, you're hitting the ball out of the sand there and you grounded your club. You know, that was more about the tournament directors themselves and the rules officials before. I mean, I think Dustin kind of probably should have known that one. Although you don't allow people to sit in a hazard, I wouldn't think.
That's what they didn't do their part.
Right.
So all bets are off here.
Yeah. That one was the only one that I ever upon reading more about that later on, how that was plastered all over the players' locker rooms, you know. So there was a little bit of fault both ways there.
But to me, it's a weird thing, this type of scenario. Because there's nothing less interesting to me, but more infuriating at the same time as an official or somebody over-legislating or getting something wrong. It's the same discussion we're having in the NFL. To me, as we're talking about it, there is nothing less interesting than that discussion.
Well, yeah,
however,
because you're hearing it from the standpoint of, I just got in my car, I'd like to be entertaining these two guys for arguing about officials overstepping bounds. I got you, but it's also something we're all passionate about. I mean, this is a sports program, and we love sports, and when sports gets screwed with by officials or losers at home calling in an infraction, it affects the outcomes of these events that we so cherish.
I don't even mean it in that sense, although, yeah, that's kind of true, too.
I hear it.
But I'm talking about how it's just fundamentally stupid that we have to have these discussions about like some guy in a back room making a decision or a guy on the field going to a Surface tablet and taking 20 minutes from a game and then not even getting it right after he takes 20 minutes out of the game time.
I'm going to get into that again here shortly because I just don't understand what they're doing in New York.
Nothing correct.
There are things, lots of them in fact, that I am not as well versed on as maybe I'd like to be. It could be any number of things, whether it's a law or whether it's a policy of some kind or whatever it might be, right? That sometimes on the surface you say, well, this is just common sense. It would stand to reason that you wouldn't allow for this or you would allow for that or whatever it might be. And then you decide, well, I'm gonna really look into this a little bit more because I don't understand why this isn't happening. It seems to be common sense. And then you read more and you go, oh, well, see, I'm glad I didn't talk out of school. I had no idea that this was involved, right? And then you learn to take a step back, and it's maturity. Nothing about what we're talking about with the NFL as far as concussion protocol, watching a guy twitching on the field, and or rules officials in New York being able to radio in after looking at a replay at Central Command and telling an official on the field about what he saw really could be anything other than what it is. The play is the play. Yeah. A replay is a replay. He is or is not down in bounds. It is a catch or it isn't. This doesn't require any extra layers.
You know, you started with golf, and I think this is the best way to put it, at least from how I've experienced it. As a kid, learning the rules of golf, it's dense, man. Those books, whether it's PGA, USGA, whatever, all of the books for the rules of golf, if you really want to get into it's all weeds. There's nothing there but weeds. And you have to know these things. You play in high school. You have to have the book in your golf bag in case something comes up. Anyway, you watch the broadcasts and you see the rules officials come on and they talk about subsection this, that. I never thought it would get to a point where golf is simpler than football at that point. And it has.
It's at times, yeah.
I mean, when you're talking about the catch rule or when you're talking about stipulations on spotting the football, the time on the clock.
Targeting anymore, man.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Who's the defenseless receiver and who isn't?
But think about, when they bring on Pereira, and they used to bring on the other referee on CBS who always got it wrong. So
got it wrong every time. They finally said, you got to go, man. We're not real sure you knew what the hell you were doing when you were there.
But they're like your accountant for the weekend. They're like, all right, so here's what the code says about this, and that means that they're going to do – I mean, think about where it's devolved to.
Well, Pereira and others during the Bucs game and people on NFL Network later on were talking about how this is a bad look for the league because this was a straightforward play that they botched every which way to Sunday. They botched the initial call. Okay, so there was no targeting, but they called targeting. They botched whether or not it was a catch or a fumble. So they botched everything about it. Then they botched it again, then changed the call in order to undo the botch, but then realized that if you change the call, the other call then can't be correct because now that's not the genesis of the play, that something else is the play, and as a result, we can't call that. And then after all of that, they went back to the original and forced the Lions to challenge it, which only then allowed them to get it right. And yet, anybody watching that game could have got that right in 5 seconds of looking at the replay.
Yeah, but you know what I do? And this is kind of an outside-the-box solution, but I think you need outside-the-box because this is how many years of this in a row? How this is a bad look for the league. But just when you're talking about officiating, how many weeks in a row? Like every single week for the last 45 years?
Dive into it, yeah.
There's been a game where you go, well, good God.
What are we doing here?
You take the ability for the referee to talk on television at the camera away from the referee. You know how they do it in basketball? They walk over to the broadcast booth, they communicate with the people on the ground,
right?
And then the information is relayed to the TV crew, the radio crew, and they tell you what the hell happened as the play's going on. Because the official has to take the extra step to talk to the world at large who's watching the game, I feel like it empowers them to feel like they have control of the game that they don't. I'd instead have the referee make the ruling, communicate the ruling to the press box, have that information disseminated out over the broadcasts, rather than making officials TV stars. Ed Guns Hockley is a household name. Ed Guns Hockley is a household name. Let's take that away from the officials, and I'll bet you it gets more efficient.
I think you're right. It should be like tennis.
That was a large soapbox for something that's really not that important.
I'm ranting off and on this subject all day because it was largely what made up my sports weekend besides the greatness of the Army-Navy game and some, rather trivial observations about how cool snow is. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, only Mahindra, the world's #1 selling tractor, can give you the #1 year-end deal. Let us show you how to get tax savings on the toughest tractors on earth and get up to $7,400 in discounts along with Mahindra's 7-year warranty. Plus, get an Emax 22 with mid-mower for just $134 a month.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
A true wing eater's favorite, the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. He's gone! Home of Trivia Tuesday, Beer Bingo Thursday, and the daily $7.99 lunch special.
At the Home Depot, free carpet installation means free carpet installation. And free includes clearing out furniture, ripping out old carpet, hauling it away, even carpeting stairs, with no hidden fees. Free installation on carpet $699 or more means free installation. Only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid on carpet priced $1 or more per square foot. Specialty items may be priced separately.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. Once again, all of you with stellar credit ratings, congratulations. And this message is not for you. All year I've been talking about our New For You program to assist good people with dings in their credit. And just last week, a friend of mine came into my office worried about his own credit rating. But thanks to our New For You program, you guessed it, he drove away in a brand new Nissan Altima. We are proud of the fact that we have helped hundreds of people that were previously limited shopping little used car lots where they overpaid, got huge finance charges, and had very few choices on cars to purchase. Some of those lots may actually hurt your credit more than they could ever help. So remember, credit score under 600? Come on in. Recent bankruptcy? Come on in. Recently divorced? Come on in. Think you have a financial problem we've never heard of? Come on in to Kraft Nissan. And come see the one dealer in Tallahassee that can really help you out. Come see the cars that everyone wants at the hottest dealer in town, Kraft Nissan. And remember, if you don't see the Kraft tag on your car, you paid too much, way too much. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco, or visit us on the web at craftnissan.com.
Can't decide between fresh steak, seafood, or wings? Well, Miller's Ale House on Appalachia Parkway has it all. From center-cut sirloin and original pastas to fresh salads and favorites like Miller's Signature Zingers, tossed in your favorite sauce. Miller's Ale House has a full-service bar featuring more than 75 beers, plus wine and liquors. Bring the family to watch the big game inside or on their covered patio on one of over 60 HD TVs. However you come to relax, you will have a good time and great food at Miller's Ale House on Appalachia Parkway.
I give to you easy laundry service from my friends at Wash Around the Clock. Oh, buddy, this is a game changer. If you're like me, your life is hectic. Between work, school, your kids' sporting events and activities, well, it leaves you precious little time to kick back and take a load off. About the last thing you want to do is hours of laundry, but there it sits, staring at you, taunting. No more. That's right. More watching, less washing. Save hours of valuable time when you sign up not doing laundry with easy laundry service from Wash Around the Clock. Whether it's dry cleaning or just plain laundry, Wash Around the Clock's easy laundry service will pick up and deliver at your home or office. So sign up for free today at easylaundry.net, or you can give them a call, 850-597-9007. Again, sign up today at easylaundry.net. Oh, and by the way, I got you. Use promo code JCS20 and save 20%. That's promo code JCS20. You're saving 20% on your first order. That's easylaundry.net from Wash Around the Clock. Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
If you have hard water, the lime scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate lime scale and other water issues like brown staining, bad odors, and lead with HydroCare water products available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to goodclearwater.com. That's goodclearwater.com.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Experamac of Tallahassee. Experamac, Tallahassee's trusted tech source for Apple. Stopping at 346 South Magnolia Drive or call at 765-2012 today.
Now the league will have to take a look at the situation in Jacksonville and what can be done. You know, I don't know. I don't know what can be done. It's kind of like we talked earlier in the show that I know these things can turn really ugly in a hurry if a guy ever really does get into the stands, see the malice and the palace and all that, the brawl and the whatever the hell that was called.
No, that's right. Malice in the palace.
Yeah. A little bit easier to access fans from a basketball court than it is in the NFL. And moreover, as an awfully big man that would have had to climb. Quentin Jefferson is a big dude. I don't know if he could, he's strong. I don't know if he could climb up there or not. And if I were a fan in that situation, if I were dumb enough to be confronting an NFL player, in particular a defensive end / tackle the size of Quentin Jefferson, if when he began his efforts to climb up, it was a struggle, you got to get your shots in now. You can't let him get into the stands.
Yeah, but even then, you run the risk of his hand grabbing any limb of yours, and then you're done.
True. Fair enough.
And then you're falling 10 feet.
So he was confronted by a group of Jags fans. If you missed the incident, you can find it online. He was nearly hit. It's not that close, but it's a beer, I think, that goes flying over. And he's been ejected from the game at this point. Basically, this is an ignited fracas because there's a kneel-down formation, and these guys, they get into a little tussle there, frustration, and he's kicked out of the game. So he goes, and that's when the fans throw something at him, and he stops at that point and decides he's going to have a conversation with those individuals, and then something else is thrown. And, we've seen this before. I don't know what can be done. I don't know when it started. Maybe this is a knee-jerk reaction to something that, it's recency bias. I don't know. I just don't remember this as a kid. I don't remember fans feeling like they had the right to throw things at players. I don't remember that being a thing.
I can remember this in my entire life, honestly. Oh, yeah, J.D. Drew had batteries thrown at him.
Philadelphia, after he didn't sign, yes, I remember that, yeah.
And then stories about, whether it's growing up around, the Lightning organization, so I hear hockey players talk about beer getting dumped on them when they're in the penalty box.
Yeah, in the penalty box, yeah. And there's been fights there. I'm not saying it's never happened. Obviously, we've seen it. I feel like it happens more frequently. Maybe not that players stop and confront, but the throwing of things from the stands. Well, you know what it is? It's kind of the perp walk. It's the whole idea that when guys get thrown out of a game, they have these security people lead them away. It's almost like a perp walk. And I don't know if fans feel the need or the carte blanche to make it happen, like they're further shaming the individual, or if drawing attention to it does that. I do think every time I see it that I want the player to get into the stands. But I'm always fearful, and I understand that if they did, what happens after they exact some form of justice is probably a riot and possibly people getting really, really hurt. But I always want fans, idiotic fans who are drunk out of their mind, throwing things at players, to have to be confronted, to have this thing play out to its logical conclusion, which is that you have thrown a projectile at another man, and he's decided that that's not okay. Can you imagine? I mean, the idea, these people have no idea how big these guys are.
No, to me, I think the better solution is to have the fan chucked onto the field, and then you have the fight in the pit that is the field. Because the thing that I worry about is when they're getting up to go into the stands, like he's got his shoulders up as somebody's pulling him back down. Is there's a kid somewhere in there? There's a mom somewhere in there. Yeah. You know what I mean?
No,
what
you
do
don't
they do?
Really want to see
They're in
it.
the middle of the row, and they have to scramble to the other aisle because they're getting the hell out of Dodge. Because you saw the loser come down the aisle, and he's yelling at him, the fat guy.
He wants to get hit. He probably wants to be able to sue. He probably wants a chance at the money.
But, I mean, there are idiots in every section.
Oh,
there are
question.
more idiots in certain sections of the stadium than others. But, I mean, there are families there trying to cause no harm, and now they're going to get stomped or elbowed or shouldered for no damn reason because somebody decides to throw a beer.
Yeah, it's the follow-up throw that pissed him off really bad. It was the first throw. He's kind of ready to keep going. Then the follow-up throw, he's like, okay, well, we're done here. I'm not going to let you just throw projectiles at me. I know players, it's incumbent upon the player. They're told all the time, you cannot interact with fans. You can't sink to their level. You have to get off the field. Just ignore it and keep moving. Sort of this idea that you're paid handsomely to ignore stuff like that. And it's kind of a conversation we had about Jimbo Fisher this year. Now this was a little different. Nobody threw anything at Jimbo Fisher, and nobody even cursed at Jimbo Fisher. They were just telling him to go get different coordinators, and he stopped. And you really can't do that in that situation. But, I don't know. Emboldened fans throwing objects crosses a line for me that I'm always inclined to root for the player than to do something about it, although I know it's not what kids and people need to see. I'm just talking about the aspect of a fan feeling so emboldened and so confident in himself that he's going to throw something at a 6'5", 330-pound man, like he could do something. Like you would be able to do anything if this man decides on this particular day to stop and challenge your aggression.
Oh, to me, I think you should offer the fan an option. To serve a minor overnight sentence or whatever because you know how certain stadiums, I know Philadelphia does, they have the jail cell, they cool people off. Like you have a choice to do that, 20 hours community service and a $300 fine, or now you can fight him. Here you go. We are now in the same area. Yeah. Your choice. What's it going to be? But the problem is, the fan on player, whatever, interactions like this, it's a logical step because fans have been throwing things at fans forever and a day. I mean, if you go to a road game in the NFL, for example, in the Northeast, and you're wearing the other colors, and it's a rivalry game, hell, even if it's not, it's a playoff game, say in Philadelphia, where the legends are long. And Tampa, there were days of Tampa radio dedicated to the crap that, they would be put through by Philadelphia fans when they traveled up to Philly just because they want to go see a game at the Vet. It's the next logical step. Like, this kind of tomfoolery has been normal.
This sort of chicanery cannot stand, man.
Yeah, like to me, it doesn't shock me.
I'm not. I guess I didn't express it properly. I don't know that I'm shocked because fans do unruly, silly things all the time. Drunken, foolish behavior. You see it all the time. Hell, we run. It's a running gag on the Jeff Cameron show about Cat 5 maintains. That's all built around the idea that I saw somebody laying face down in a plant or in a bush outside of Doak Campbell Stadium 3 hours before the game, and me thinking, well, sir, I mean, you're not going to even see kickoff. We've got to maintain. I know it's a big game, and I'm all very excited just like you, but let's keep it, on the up and up. We can have a few pops and all enjoy ourselves, but you can't end up face down in a bush. I mean, at least not before kickoff. So the idea that fans go over the top and get blitzed at football games, you're right. That's not foreign to me. That's not shocking to me. And if people like that are entering the stadium, they're going to make foolish decisions. That's going to follow. But the aggression towards players, fan-on-fan violence has been going on forever. Boo all you want, players. Yell at players. You suck, Larry. What? Okay, fine. I'll live with it. Get a hold of yourself. But okay. You can't throw objects at people. I mean, that's self-explanatory. Everybody gets that. I don't recall that happening all that frequently. It feels like it happens more now. It feels like people feel a bit more inclined to act physically.
I agree
than they
with you
used
there.
to.
No, and we've talked about this before. I think social media has it's underscored a new bravado in people because they can't be told no from their keyboard, so they believe in real life.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
There are no more real consequences than there are.
Yes,
getting an all caps response back with an FU from the keyboard.
And that's, I guess, what I was getting at. It is vigilante justice, but there's a part of me that says I would love for that very real life set of circumstances to have Sheldon Richardson be a foot away from the person who just threw a beer at his head. For that person to have to realize that there are ramifications. If you were going to, anywhere else in life, if somebody goes to work and another man throws a beer in their face or anything in their face, there's an ass kicking coming. That's what's going to happen, and it's justified. Obviously, Jacksonville will be able to review the tape, and I would imagine that you kick that guy out for life, multiple people, although that's a little bit harder. As I've understood.
I don't know how you do that.
I don't know how you do it, yeah. As I understand it, it can be very, very difficult. They've tried to do this before when people yell racist things at games and so forth. Also, of course, we all know whenever that happens, you really want a guy to come back up there and just beat the bejesus out of that person.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I want other fans to act in those moments.
When I was a kid at Tampa Bay, Green Bay, mid to late 90s, there was a Green Bay fan that got thrown out for throwing racial epithets out there at other fans. It was crazy. No, it's the weirdest thing. Okay, so you know the section in Raymond James.
There are numerous segments I don't want to be in at Raymond James.
This one, it's sideline, but it's corner. So, it whittles down to a 2-seat row. It's kind of like a triangle section, and I was in the 2-seat row. This is by the end zone with the pirate ship, I believe. If it wasn't, it was the other end zone. Whatever. This guy is walking down the stairs, a Bucks fan, and this lady behind me, this old, sweet-looking lady who's, she's got the starter jacket on and the glasses with the chain.
Didn't we all have a starter's jacket?
She's a Green Bay fan, and she starts yelling
words,
the N-bomb at this guy.
This sweet lady did?
Yeah, well, sweet-looking. I didn't say sweet. I said sweet-looking. And this guy turns around. There was no interaction beforehand. And he goes, what? What is your problem? He was stunned, and she got thrown out. I saw something I don't know that it is even fit for radio to repeat in the bathroom at Raymond James Stadium in 1996.
Also a Green Bay Tampa Bay game, right?
Green Bay Tampa Bay game.
That used to be a real
Cheesehead.
rivalry, yeah.
Yeah. Man, it's been going on as long as I can remember.
Fan on fan, seen it forever. There are not that many incidents, and I pulled it up because I wanted to double check how many incidents there have been between fans and players in the NFL. Now, you have some baseball stuff in here. You have hockey's had some notorious ones where guys were able to climb out of the box and just lay beat down.
But think about last year, Miami, Florida State. Remember they were throwing stuff at the bench down there.
Yeah.
They threw it on the end zone. That's the one the TV caught. But then Florida State had film of the fans throwing stuff at our bench last year. Like beers, whole of those aluminum bottles, the whole bottles thrown at him.
Yeah, that's not going to get it done. You know that. I guess one of the things they're talking about doing now further is, again, almost eliminating, and they're never going to do this because they're stuck in a quandary here. The reality of this situation is that it's all alcohol induced. Listen, and I'm not being a preacher here. I like to have my fair share and imbibe and having a good time at the games with my friends. So I'm not being preachy here, but we do know this is all. That's why they curtailed this. Basically you can't get a beer after halftime at a lot of these places.
Yeah, they're not throwing a Zephyr Hills bottle at the guy.
No.
If that's all they're offering.
It's almost always alcohol related. And, they did a big thing a year ago when we were talking about this. It was a year ago we were talking about the situation in Buffalo, but there was the HBO Real Sports special on it's always Buffalo with the parking lots where the people are leaping off.
And D.C., too.
Yeah, D.C.
Oh, my God.
It gets crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they can do about that.
Philly's pretty crazy, too.
I don't know what they can do about it, though.
People are pissed off. These people hate their lives. Don't you? That's the part of it, too.
Of course.
These people hate their lives to begin with.
I just wonder how close we are to another big one. I wanted that to happen. I don't really want that to happen because you know what? Once the guy gets there, a beating's going to ensue, and a bunch of other people are going to race over to the aid of the person taking an ass beating.
No, yeah, what you need to do is just pick up the legs of the fan and then just scoop them up and wheelbarrow them over the edge and say, there you go. This is what you wanted, isn't it?
Over under 2.5 years for the next fan beatdown.
For an actual beatdown?
An actual beatdown. It's been a long time. I feel like we're moving towards it. You're right. People are angry and they're drunk. So how soon? Angry, drunk fans till a beating happens.
Under, because it's going to happen with a court storming. Yeah. Somebody, or a field storming.
Coach K would, I told you. He would, I guarantee you, he'd be going on and on about that.
Every year we deal with 4 or 5 of them, which is incidentally about the amount of gold medals I have.
And he would also bring up somehow Tallahassee. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, only Mahindra, the makers of the toughest utility vehicles on earth, can give you the best year-end deal on earth. So let us show you how to get tax savings on your new Mahindra XTV and get cash back and savings up to $2,500 on select clearance models. Plus, get a free roof and Mahindra's 3-year warranty.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Hey, I'm Travis with Parker Brothers Roofing. Some roofers are like a bad boyfriend. They make lots of promises, but in reality, they're just cheap. They don't own up to their mistakes, and they leave you with a lot of regret. Parker Brothers Roofing stands behind every installation, and if a mistake is made, we own it and fix it. Our customers never have to worry about being left behind for the next job. At Parker Brothers, it's quality that builds our quantity. Call us at 656-8112.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
At the Home Depot, free carpet installation means free carpet installation. And free includes clearing out furniture, ripping out old carpet, hauling it away, even carpeting stairs, with no hidden fees. Free installation on carpet $699 or more means free installation. Only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid on carpet priced $1 or more per square foot. Specialty items may be priced separately.
Landowners, only Mahindra, the makers of the toughest utility vehicles on earth, can give you the best year-end deal on earth. Let Mahindra show you how to get tax savings on your new Mahindra XTV and get cash back and savings up to $2,500 on select clearance models.
North Florida and South Georgia's authorized Mahindra dealer is TNT Super Center, US 19 South in Thomasville, and at TNTSuperCenter.com.
Offer with approved credit. See dealer for details. Program restrictions may apply.
This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi, developing story. Another key injury for the Eagles to overcome, but this time it's to their franchise quarterback. NFL MVP favorite Carson Wentz has a torn ACL and will miss the rest of the season. In his absence, the Eagles turn to Nick Foles. Even without Wentz, Philly can still make a deep playoff run if it acclimates Foles into the fold of the offense, explains ESPN's Ryan Clark.
If they allow the running game to lead, the defense to play, win with special teams, this team can be as competitive as any other team in the NFC. Nick Foles is a guy who started in this league, and we saw with the plays yesterday at the end of the game, he's poised, he understands his offense, and this team can still be very formidable in the playoffs.
The NFL and NFLPA have initiated a joint investigation into the concussion protocol for the hit on Texans QB Tom Savage. Savage took a hard hit yesterday, was allowed back for one series after being evaluated for a concussion. He was ultimately pulled. Bills QB Tyrod Taylor remains day-to-day with a knee injury. The Patriots clinched their 9th straight AFC East title with a win over the Dolphins on Monday Night Football, 8:30 Eastern, ESPN TV.
Still looking for that perfect gift? Dell has something for everyone on your list. From the best brands of electronics to the hottest laptops with Intel Core processors and the latest gaming PCs. And did we mention there's free shipping on everything? Call 800-BUY-DELL. That's 800-BUY-DELL.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Experamac of Tallahassee. Experamac, Tallahassee's trusted tech source for Apple. Stopping at 346 South Magnolia Drive or call at 765-2012 today.
Hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least 4 today. Thanks for tuning to it. Good Monday, everybody. Hope you're well. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything. If you do miss something, I got you covered. We'll post all 3 hours, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. Email the show if you like, jcs@97.espnradio.com. On Twitter, it's @JCameronShow. WTSM app for your mobile devices. That's a good thing. You can watch us perform our duties on YouTube. If you want to watch the show, go there. Type in ESPN Tallahassee, and you're good to go. Noles win over the weekend. I wonder how many people remember that game was on and tuned in and watched that first half, because it was kind of ugly. You know, that was a bit of a clank fest early.
It felt very much like a morning tip, even though it was at noon. In a place that, these
don't
players
normally
don't
play.
know.
The sight lines are all messed up.
Well, yeah, they didn't get a shoot around because they had the hockey game the night before.
Mm-hmm.
So
Which was a great game.
Yeah, and it's 21-7 with 5 minutes to play in the first half?
Yeah, it was not a beautiful game, but I do really enjoy watching this team play, and there's a couple reasons. I feel like this is a team, Tom, and you're talking about the bigger picture after a ho-hum win like this over Tulane. Florida State wins easily, 72-53. It really isn't a very competitive game. Some good things begin to happen here, though. Some things that I want to continue to see have happen. Fee got right and calmed down compared to the game against Florida, and he played really well and was tough, and it's just some things that make me happy. But the bigger picture stuff with Florida State that I'm excited about is we've talked so much about balance and how any given night a certain guy can carry you from a scoring standpoint. They're tough, man. They're really tough. They're not going to get punked by anybody. They're a tough team. Mentally and physically, they are a tough team. That they're going to scrap. They're going to play hard. They're going to play through droughts. They're going to play through stretches where it's ugly basketball. They're going to play through when another team is on a run and you feel like all momentum is going the wrong way. They don't mentally check out. They're very tough.
Yeah, they're not going to get punked. They might get beat by a healthy margin because they can't shoot, but they're not going to get punked. And that's great to see because this is a candidate yesterday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a perfect candidate. Again, here's another one coming up this week against Oklahoma State. It's just a completely nothing atmosphere.
Right.
And it's a game that, say what you want. It's like when Jimbo would talk about football atmospheres in the SEC versus the ACC. He said, there is actually kind of a challenge to going up to Wake Forest and playing a noon kick.
Yeah, because there's no energy, yeah.
Because if we were going to, Starkville on a Saturday at noon, that
they'd
place
be
is
ringing the
raucous.
bells, baby.
And so you have to play. So, yeah, I like that this team can go pretty much play anywhere, road, home, and neutral site, neutered games, and put up at least a wholehearted performance.
Well, let me give you an example of what we're talking about with the toughness and the balance and the fact that nobody has to defer necessarily and that they all play off of each other, and guys are going to have days where you go, boy, I didn't see him capable of carrying us for that 10-minute stretch. And then the next time you see that same player, he's going to be awful. C.J. Walker, in a nutshell, had a stretch of games here recently, the last 3, where he averaged over 18 points a game. And by all rights, at various stretches of the game, carried us to victory in critical moments, in big moments. And then in this game was terrible. He had 3 points. He was 1 of 8 shooting. He hit a free throw, 3 rebounds and an assist. 1 steal in 27 minutes. By the way, Florida State steals the basketball. And that's an interesting thing, too, when you're looking at the percentage of possessions in which they create turnovers. Florida State's in the top 20 in the country right now. That's length.
Yeah, we're over 10%, right?
That's very active. Yeah, we're really good at that. But the point would be, okay, they've got nothing so far this year out of P.J. Savoy. Nothing. He's been useless. I know he scored 6 points in this game. He hasn't done a damn thing. And you would have thought for a team that's going to need a shooter that would be a problem. It's not a problem. It hasn't been a problem at all. Maybe he'll find his way, get his sea legs, if you will, and start hitting some shots. Because all the time, somebody else is emerging. Terrence Mann gets 2 penalties. Listen to me, I'm thinking of hockey. 2 fouls in the first 3 minutes of the game. And Ham does that cockamamie nonsense where he sits him for the whole half, which is just dumb. But anyhow, he does it. And does it affect Florida State to the point where you're in danger of losing this game? No, not at all, because other people step up. Trent Forrest steps up, scores 12 points, plays well. Angola, again, with another 18-point effort, plays well. There's always seemingly a guy that's about to step in and pick up his partner that's down right now. Either a guy is hurt or a guy that's not shooting well or a guy who's in foul trouble. It's cool. Now, listen, I'm not so crazy at this point as to think this team is going to win 26 games like they did last year and, cruise on into the NCAA tournament. They do get ranked for the first time this year now, 19th in the country. They've been rewarded for playing good basketball, and they deserve it. But I think they're a nuisance in this league. I think they're a problem for most of the teams in this league. I think that they can finish in the top 6 of this league. And I think they're a tournament team. I'm going to keep banging that drum because they don't need any one guy to carry the day.
Yeah, it's the ability to pull away, too, if a team gets it tight again. The margin gets really, really close.
That happened in this game, too.
Think about Rutgers on the road. That's a game where, you're controlling it. Then Rutgers goes on a run. The whistles go Rutgers' way, and it's down to a small deficit. And then you pull back away and you say, nope, not happening here. Florida does it a couple of times on Monday night. I can even think there was one game in Jamaica, too, where it might have been the Colorado State game, where it's pulled back to within a couple of possessions, and then Florida State says no. Same thing here yesterday.
Yeah.
I think they get it to 6, I think it was, in the first half. Towards the end, we missed a couple of front ends of our free throws and the single bonus. And then we go on a little run, and we're up by double digits at half. And then, again, they pull it within a reasonable margin in the early portion of the second half. We pull away again. I like that part of our team. I like that part of the identity, which says, again, not today. No. If it's within our control, we're going to make sure that you've got to climb that mountain back again, because there's nothing more debilitating in basketball than putting together a run, getting close, only to have the other team pull back away. It's kind of like being run on in football. It demoralizes a team, and you can see it. And that's really, really what I like about this group so far through 9 wins.
Meanwhile, we continue to monitor Willie Taggart as his regime begins, or his time starts, and we look for him to put together a group that we'll consider the Willie Taggart regime. We're still waiting on that. Obviously, we monitor recruits closely to see who's decommitting from other places, who is giving him a listen, and who isn't. By all accounts right now on the recruiting trail, depending on who you talk to, where you read your recruiting news, whether that's warchant.com, whether that's one of the other sites, you can tell that Willie Taggart is having an impact. He's made a splash. People are invested in at least listening. How many he can flip, we'll see. There are a lot of big names out there. There are a lot of other kids that have just straight up decommitted, kids at Oregon, for example. So how many of those guys he can get, how many of those guys he can close, how many of those guys that he could maybe, perhaps get to at least allow him to get sit across from them. We'll see. But for now, across the board, everywhere you read, everywhere you look, that was a splash hire amongst recruits.
Oh, man, and this is a really fascinating year. It'll be something fun to pick Coach Taggart's brain about when it's all over, because the early signing period is here for the first time.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of layers to the way you would attack this, even if it was Oregon that he was still at or Jimbo was still here, because you've got to earmark the kids that you think that you can get to sign today. Not just the early enrollees, but the kids who want to shut it down before February signing day. They might not even be here till the end of the summer, but let's see about those kids and see if we can get them to sign now so that we can focus all of our resources for the next 6 weeks to the kids for the regular National Signing Day. So between that and his arrival here, I mean, his battle plan has to be completely tossed over the shoulder and in the wastebasket from Oregon now to where he's here.
A whole lot of sleeplessness, one would think, as you get ready to go to battle and try to make this happen. By the way, this was a good Sunday in the NFL. We're about to get into some things that aren't so good that I saw, but in terms of some drama, 39-38 in a rivalry game was really, really fun to watch. We had a snow game for the all-time. I don't ever recall a game that looked like that.
That heavy of snow,
no,
right?
I mean, well, and the layers, the inches on the ground at the end of that game is crazy. I mean, watching guys try to run through that is comical. I literally was laughing. I'm talking about Buffalo and Indianapolis, which otherwise was a dreadful football game. Cleveland blows a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter, which you just chuckle at. The Bucs lose again, and that's a franchise in need of a reboot right now. I mean, they got problems there.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the end.
I'm watching that 1 o'clock window out, and these Packers fans go nuts. And I'm like, oh, and like really nuts. Like over the top, you just beat the Browns. Like, hang on a second now. You just beat the Browns.
Right.
Let's check everything and put it in
But
perspective.
it keeps them alive, and now Aaron Rodgers can come back.
Oh, I know. The one guy was just, I'm like, wow, congratulations. Something good finally happened to the Packers. Like every year with you guys. But I saw one play in particular. Brissett made a move he rolled right, made a move, 3 or 4 pump fakes. I mean, I'm not even exaggerating. 1, 2, 3. And he fires it down the back of the end zone. They just miss on a touchdown. But as the guy dives for the ball, he lands in this pile of snow.
Everywhere.
And it goes freaking everywhere.
I looked at that and said, I would really love to be out there right now. That looked like a blast. And, of course, the big news over the weekend and what was a fun game to watch between two really good teams was Eagles-Rams, and I hate it for Eagles fans. Carson Wentz goes down, and I know you try to steel yourself for the Nick Foles return, but that's a toughie. That's a tough loss.
I heard on Le Batard, and I said something similar last year when Carr went down for called Brett Favre. Wouldn't you call Tony Romo? Kick the tires?
Man, the Eagles calling a former Cowboy.
How sweet would that be?
I don't know, man. I don't know if they could do it.
I'm sure they get the Cowboys once more before, the season's out.
Yeah. Here's the thing, man. I understand it was right after it happened. And in the play, he scores, but they call it back. There's a penalty, and I was worried he was hurt because I'm watching it when it happens, and it looked like I thought he got his thigh. I didn't know it was an ACL. But when you're watching it, he stays in, and they get that weird, crazy deflection, lucky-ass touchdown to Alshon Jeffrey, which is one of the best catches I've ever seen. It makes no sense that anybody could have caught that ball. I was a little bitter about it, given that I was going against somebody with Alshon Jeffrey, flukish-ass tip craziness. But anyhow, that said, he stayed in, and he was able to walk off the field. These guys are so tough anymore. I'm like, you should play through that. I'm like,
is it
fine.
his plant leg?
Hey, just put a brace on it. You'll be all right. You'll be okay. He was able to walk into the tunnel. Why can't he start next week? Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, only Mahindra, the makers of the toughest utility vehicles on Earth, can give you the best year-end deal on Earth. So let us show you how to get tax savings on your new Mahindra XTV. And get cash back and savings up to $2,500 on select clearance models. Plus, get a free roof and Mahindra's 3-year warranty.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford.
the place to find your next truck in Southern Georgia.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin, Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
The holiday countdown has begun. Count on CVS Pharmacy for all those last-minute little things you'll need to make the season feel special. You can find all of your holiday favorites in one place, like festive light sets, seasonal candles, and garland for the Christmas tree, all 25% off. And M&M's and Hershey's Kisses to fill the candy dish for your guests, now 2 for $6. So hurry into your neighborhood CVS Pharmacy and save big on all the little things you need this holiday. Restrictions apply. See circular for details.
The City of Tallahassee Utilities says 'tis the season to save energy and money. And that's why your own utility says it's time to focus on those Energy Star appliances like clothes washers, dishwashers, refrigerators, and freezers, even pool pumps and water heaters. Rebates range from $40 to $300. AC and heat pump rebates go as high as $750. And when you buy Energy Star appliances, you save twice. You'll save when you get the rebate from the City of Tallahassee Utilities, and you'll save again on your utility bill, because it's a fact that Energy Star appliances use less energy than their non-Energy Star counterparts. So look for the Energy Star when you shop local for appliances this holiday season. Get all the Energy Star rebate details at talgov.com. Your own utilities. Click on products and services, and all will be revealed. 'Tis the season to save. Save energy and save money with the City of Tallahassee Utilities Energy Star rebates. You'll save with the rebate, and you save on your utility bill. Happy holidays from the City of Tallahassee Utilities. Your own utilities, and America's #1 public utility.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer. 574-4100. And presented by TNT Supercenter in Thomasville, Georgia. And Franklin Spring Creek Ford.
Tired of your normal two-piece kit? Build your own kit with Makita and Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Buy a 5 amp-hour starter pack and choose 2 free Bear Makita tools. If all you need is an impact driver and recip saw, then that is your kit. You also receive a 3-year warranty on lithium-ion tool and battery. Check out other Makita residential construction specials as well. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener is also your home for OSHA-compliant dust solutions for all your concrete needs. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, 1110 Stuckey Ave and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon.
It's Macy's One-Day Sale. Shop incredible deals of the day, Tuesday and Wednesday, like 60% off sweaters for him and for her. Take 50% off coats for him and packable styles for her. Save 40 to 75% on select fine jewelry. 8-piece bed ensembles from Fairfield Square Collection, just $29.99. And tools of the trade cookware, only $9.99. Macy's One-Day Sale. The perfect gift brings people together. Savings off regular and sale prices. Exclusions apply.
You're locked in with the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
You know, I know that I joke about getting older all the time because for years I've made fun of old people. And believe me, as I get older, I'll make fun of myself. It's actually a fun exercise. But another indicator over the weekend happened in what was a thoroughly enjoyable, for weird reasons, Army-Navy matchup. I say thoroughly enjoyable. There were 3 passes in the game, 2 of which were complete. A lot of snow, a whole lot of just 1907 running into the middle of the line, tackle, let's punt it away football, but I liked it. I enjoyed it. It certainly was not bereft of drama at the end. But when Bennett Mourning lined up to kick the field goal for Navy, two things I thought. No chance in hell this goes in. It's 48 yards in a blizzard. And B, I felt bad for him because I thought there was no chance it would go in. But if you can believe it or not, even though I was rooting for Army, as the kid kicked it, I felt worse for him because he hit it. He hit it in a way that he deserved better. To hit it that way from 48 in a blizzard, to have the distance, you almost deserve to make that. I really kind of felt terrible for him. When it went left, those are the moments, and this is why I know I'm old, where parents picture themselves and it's their kid because they zoomed in on his face as he grabbed his face mask, and I thought, now, damn it, that kind of looks like a moment that may not define his life, but is going to haunt it for the rest of it. He had the look on his face of a guy that had just let down the entire Navy.
Yeah, but he wasn't expected to make the kick. If that was from 33 and he misses it.
I agree. I wouldn't blame him, but he blames himself, and I could see it instantly. And the thing of it is, you're right. You didn't expect him to make it. I didn't expect him to make it. I doubt very many people in attendance at this game in Philadelphia expected him to make it, but he clearly thought he was going to make it. And when he thumped it, it looked like I went, oh, my man's got enough leg here. And so it made it all the more gut-wrenching when he missed it. And I kept yelling, stop showing him. They kept zooming in on him in that despondent, sort of forlorn. I was,
when he hit the ball, I go,
yes, left. Yes, left. Way to go, Army.
Because you could hear it.
Oh, he hit it.
The game audio picked it up.
They did, and it was fantastic. As soon as he hit it, I thought, he might have made. Oh, that's going left. That's not coming back around.
You're waiting for the little slice.
The little slice.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's a reminder, and not that kid did anything wrong. I mean, he hit it hard. It's just that's a tough kick to make given the conditions and all that good stuff, brutal weather. But when Detroit's kicker, what's his name, has been so good for so long?
Prater.
Yeah, Prater.
How did we not block that, by the way?
It looks really close, doesn't it? He's like across the ball. Yeah. But anyhow, you know, as soon as he kicks it, you feel for a millisecond that it's going to go right, and then it just straightens out.
It holds its trajectory.
And it's 3/4 up the thing.
Oh, that dude.
That guy could hit it from 80. It's ridiculous. You're reminded how good professional kickers are.
That dude especially.
Yeah, really good.
The leg of legs.
I was furious. As soon as I did what you did, I went, blah. Oh, yeah.
Well, I was happy. You know, I was like, because if he makes it, then there's a great chance we lose, which is what I want at the end of the day for the draft pick. At least we are in a better position to screw it up. That's what I like. And then the second reason, if he makes it, then we have a chance for a game-winning drive down 3. So, you know, even though it was going to be just moments, mere seconds.
I enjoyed, back to Army-Navy real quick, that this year's edition of Army-Navy as much as I have any other. That was just, I know what it is. It's ugly football, but once a year, I just sit down knowing what I'm about to watch, and it's about everything more than football. I got it, and just thoroughly enjoying the way those teams compete.
That doesn't even compute. That's great football. That's outstanding football. No, listen. No. That's what they are. That's what they have to be to compete. I mean, these teams aren't 0-11 apiece playing each other. They're beating Power 5 teams in some circumstances.
No, I agree. I agree. And I'm happy that it's returned to a place where it's now competitive. You know, Navy was so much better than Army for so long. I mean, you go back and look during this streak of, what was it, 16, 14?
It was 14 in a row.
14 in a row. Their average victory margin was 29 points during that stretch. Only twice did Navy fail to win by double digits during that stretch. They won by scores of 58-12, 34-6, 42-13, 34-0, 38-3. And for years, I would call my dad before this game and watch these games, and you would see these ass beatings. Now, prior to that, Army had a great stretch.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
And I remember that growing up. But 14 in a row, you do feel happy now for Army to win 2 straight.
Well, and Army was close towards the end. You could tell that it was starting to, regress back to the mean a little bit. And I think it was a drop pass or an overthrow that was 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was razor-thin margin. It might have been 4. But this game, man, the only thing that I got mad about was that first quarter went by in like 20 minutes. I mean, it was, boom, 2 possessions done.
You're running the football.
Yeah, they're running
and
the
if
football.
you go for it on 4th and 1 or
Right.
4th and 2, you're going to keep the ball.
Right.
Yeah.
But CBS made sure that this game was going to take 3.5 hours.
Yeah, well,
because
they got to get the sponsors.
and they're all military sponsors.
Yeah.
So I get it. I understand why.
I know what you're doing.
It's pretty damn obvious why the Army would want to run an ad right now.
Mm-hmm.
But good God. Like, okay, yes, USAA, I got you. Yes, the same 3 people, spokespeople, I got you. But, we've seen 2 football plays in the last 10 minutes. Can we just watch another one?
All right, so this is part of a larger discussion, and let's carry it over because I wanted to get into some other NFL stuff. There's a couple of things on the NFL I want to get to before we close out the show. I'm going to start with one of them here, and then we'll do the other one in the final segment. Listen, I don't understand. Okay, so if you watch the NFL this weekend, now the NFL has this problem, so does college football these days, but this problem with we're not seeing enough plays. We're not seeing enough football. You're seeing way too much of this other stuff, whether it's a review, whether it's a commercial, whether it's a challenge, a timeout, whatever it might be. We don't see enough football. And we've complained about it for a couple of years. I've almost gotten to the point where I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm close because if they can't do it right, then we just need to eliminate replay. We just eliminate it. If you can't get it right, just eliminate it altogether. Now, here's what I don't understand. In the Bucs game against Detroit, there's a play, minute 34 in the first quarter, left in the first quarter. There's a seed that Winston throws to O.J. Howard. It's a beautiful throw. It's a catch. Guy comes up and lays the lumber to Howard. He still should hold on the ball. Anyhow, he drops the ball. But when you see the replay, it's pretty clear he's not only taking a step, he's about to make a move. He does 2 little mini steps in addition to the 1-2. So there's like 4 or to 5 steps, depending on what you consider a step, before the ball comes loose. And it's obviously a fumble. On the play, they call a hit against a defenseless receiver. They rule that the pass was incomplete. It's at this point that you have a real problem because upon looking at the replay, A, the hit's not to the head, B, it's a catch, and then that hit is a caused fumble, and he's not defenseless if it's a catch because he's made a move. So you have all these things. But it's, A, you could see it in real time, B, you could see it the first time you looked at the replay. My question isn't this. It's not the what took so long on replay. It's what are the people in New York, because I looked this up, they are able to talk to, this is how far replay has come. They are able to talk to officials on the field in their ears. They can talk to them. There's times where it's permitted. They have a centralized area. A guy in New York can say to the lead official, you got it wrong. It's a catch and a fumble. Detroit's ball on the 17 or whatever the hell it is, right? What is being said to these refs that would have allowed for that ridiculous, that abomination? Why were they deciding whether or not it was a catch or a fumble or a hit to a defenseless receiver or an incomplete pass? This went back and forth for, you watched it, 5 minutes?
More
6
because
minutes?
they had an initial review. There was an initial review.
But what is being
and
said
then there
from
was
New
a
York?
challenge by Jim Caldwell.
Right. Well, he rightfully challenged because his players got screwed. His team got screwed.
Right, but there was a review before he was even able to challenge the play. So they went back to the thing twice. No, honestly, I didn't have the audio because I was watching on the Vegas wall at the CP, so there's like 8 games.
I listened to every word. They were beside themselves at home. The announcers were beside.
Yeah.
They said, this is self-explanatory. What are we doing here?
Right. And
No,
you
but
know
this
what I
happens
did? I
every
gave up on the
week.
game for about 10 minutes. I'm like, screw this.
I'm not even going to watch, yeah.
It should be, you could see it. I had no audio. And, well, actually, there was audio, but it was house audio. You couldn't even hear the damn thing. But you could see the replay. And so if you can't get that right, if it's not Detroit's ball, and I'm a Bucs fan, but if it's not Detroit's ball, then I'm going to go watch something else.
Well, here's the thing, though. And I'm using that as an example. I watched a ton of NFL football yesterday, all around the league. And this happens a lot. And I don't know. I really am ignorant in this situation. I do not understand what could possibly cause a breakdown in the lines of communication in this situation. It is very, very simple, and they do it in other sports, and they get it right. Hockey does it better than anybody, but they get it right in so many other sports. I don't know if this is their overzealous effort to ensure safety, which, again, I kind of understand, but it certainly has affected the integrity of this sport, which is making it far less fun to watch. But number two, if you've got people in New York, which is what we always wanted, it's so much better than these people walking over and looking inside at their VCR to decide what the hell is going on, where they get, remember,
now they look at the Surface tablet, which is brought to you by.
Right, yes, of course. But, I mean, this is very easy to do. If you've got people in New York, I have never taken an officials training class or anything like that. I've watched and played football forever, right? All of us with those bare minimum qualifications watch that or plays like it all the time and say, that's an incomplete pass. That's a catch and a fumble, Detroit's ball on the 17. That's not definitive, calling the field stands. That's whatever it is, right? You can do it in 30 seconds. And if you've got people in New York who are allowed to talk to officials, I do not understand how 5 to 7 minute reviews are even possible.
A conspiracy theory that they're trying to lengthen the game for more commercials. I don't know. Here's the thing. The NFL as a product is garbage. It's really garbage. Like, I watch it because
you're conditioned to. You're conditioned to.
Yeah.
I say this all the time.
Red zone's the best experience because you at least go to interesting plays all damn day long. But
product, you lose, yeah.
God, dude, I could watch Colorado and Edmonton hockey and be forever more entertained than I could be by watching any NFL game.
You're nailing it. You're nailing it. And Tom, I got to tell you this. You're really going to if they don't improve things, if things don't get better in the NFL, whether it's the rules changes or review policy or whatever it might be, if they don't get better, you're really going to feel this way, if you feel that way now, when you have kids. Because there's a level of guilt that you feel when you're sitting on a Sunday when they're home. And I'm just speaking from my vantage point as a father. When the Bucks are on at 1 o'clock, I tell my kids a lot of times, because we do the Scuttlebucks and because I love the Bucks and I want to watch the game, I say, okay, kids, the Bucks play at 1. Daddy's going to be busy from 1 to 4, 1 to 4:30 or thereabouts, okay? Partly because it's my job, but also I do love the Bucks, so it is also selfish. When I'm watching an inferior product and I'm watching a 7-minute review to get something seemingly very obvious, right or wrong, right, I begin to feel a level of guilt that I am wasting my time on a sport that doesn't deserve my attention, that I could be out playing ball with the kids or doing some such thing, whatever it is we could be doing, instead of sitting here watching these people F it up every Sunday. And it's not hard, and they do it constantly. Now, you're reminded every now and again when you get a really good game like last night's game, or hell, the Eagles-Rams was crazy and a lot of fun to watch, that why you love the game and why it's hard to pull yourself away. But, man, more often than not, I catch myself going, man, is this 3 hours really? Is this the best use of your time? Watching this game,
Sure.
Watch these buffoons screw this up.
The highest level of every sport is entertaining to watch. Every single sport. If you watch the highest level of it, man, you're interested. Whether it be,
I agree with you.
International
Tennis,
soccer,
anything,
or
right,
Premier League, Champions League soccer, or Olympic hockey. People love Olympic hockey. They love the hell out of it.
It's really good.
It's well viewed.
Larger ice. And
Look, people don't want to watch like a random Tuesday night, or certainly not, minor league or college hockey, but they'll watch the pinnacle of the sport.
Right.
So, the NFL has pinnacle games. The playoffs are great. I like Wild Card Weekend. Usually that's kind of more sloppy, but I like it all. But you give me the average game on a Sunday? No, it's legislated to the hilt. Quarterback play is largely crap. Offensive line play is largely crap. And you have 87 million, commercials. 87 commercials in the game, and
you can't define
what am I watching?
You can't define what a catch is. You can't define what a penalty is. You can't define what roughness is or defenseless is. You can't decide what a catch or a fumble is. You don't know how long a review is going to take. It used to be, we were told when reviews began to happen, Tom, that it would be never any more than 2 minutes. That's what we were told. It's never been 2 minutes. Even the most obvious of calls take forever. And they always explain it away by letting us know, well, they're looking for the clock. What the hell? We don't have a system in place yet?
Correct. Yeah, no, and it's 110 plays, right? 120 plays that you're running in a game. So, for what? And it's not just because you're seeing it too. It's not just a millennial thing. No. I'd rather watch the condensed version, frankly, because I'll get just as much out of that context-wise, too.
You'll get the gist of what happened and why. You'll understand who won the line of scrimmage. You'll understand when good decisions and bad decisions were made, and you can avoid all that other nonsense.
And red zone's good, too. because again, red zone whips you around to the best situations.
Yeah,
now,
I agree with you in terms of being informed, but I don't like.
But half the time they cut away, it's like, oh well, there's a timeout there, so we're going to send you to Green Bay. Oh, in Green Bay they've got a review here, so we're going to send you out to Los Angeles. An injury timeout in Los Angeles. We're going to send you to Denver. You know what I mean? Like, and the injuries too, because the game has become
that way. It's listen, they're already studying this. I'm telling you, there were some plays over the weekend in the NFL that made me think, man, the clock is ticking on football. And I know that it pisses people off to hear it because people feel like football's under siege. I'm just telling you, when you're watching Tom Savage sitting on the ground twitching and his hands are shaking every which way and nobody says, hey, maybe it's a good idea not to put that guy back in the game.
Right, nobody in the building. Nobody who can do something about it.
Well, they're supposed to be up there. Remember that?
Correct.
We're supposed to be people watching the sidelines, watching it.
No, I'm saying nobody who can do something about it thinks that. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not under siege. It's not like your right to free speech or something, but the product sucks. If it's good, people watch it. It's pretty simple, man. If it's good, people are going to watch it in droves. And right now, tradition says we're going to watch it. There's nothing else on Sundays. Every other league, like even the NBA, they don't really pump up their Sunday afternoon matchups until we get into February. And I'm like, all right.
Well, here we go. Wake up,
here.
everybody.
We got Cavs Warriors at 2:30.
I'll watch. I don't know. I have weird stretches where my NBA level of attention span for the NBA and my infatuation with that league wanes, and then it comes back. I can never really figure out what it is. Just something tickles me, and I start watching again.
For an average
like regular season Tuesday night game. Yeah, that's what
for an average game, entertainment level, hockey's number one, for me. And then what's really good these days? Nobody wants to hear this either. Golf. Golf is exceptional every weekend.
Awesome. I love golf. Yeah, but people will tell you that golf's like watching paint dry. I disagree, but you have to be a golfer.
Would you rather watch a 20-foot putt or Ed Hockley explain a call and then go back to look for the spot of the foul?
Ed Hockley, Tom. I just heard somebody yell. No, I agree with you, of course, but we both like golf. We both play golf. I think for you to love golf, you got to play it. I think you can't be a person who didn't play golf and then suddenly tune into golf.
I got you, but, if I'm actually watching football, like I'm actually watching plays, and we're not talking about targeting or anything. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Well, we're always talking about targeting.
And then even think about the broadcast nowadays. I mean, look at the way those are constructed. You're having larger discussions about the health of the game and ratings and reviews, and you're not talking about why this throw works against this coverage. It's hardly analysis anymore. It's talking about the greater issues half the freaking time.
Because they're in the midst of they're at a crossroads. The NFL is at a crossroads. Football is basically at a crossroads because they're trying so hard to get it right from a safety standpoint and adjusting the rules accordingly, which I applaud them for, that they've affected the integrity of the game. And when you do that, and there are really blurred lines as to what is or is not a foul, they always err on the side of caution, but they affect the outcome of games in doing so. And when fans begin to feel like the outcome of games are affected by something other than the players, they'll stop watching. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, only Mahindra, the makers of the toughest utility vehicles on earth, can give you the best year-end deal on earth. So let us show you how to get tax savings on your new Mahindra XTV and get cash back and savings up to $2,500 on select clearance models. Plus, get a free roof and Mahindra's 3-year warranty.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my poor truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin, Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Than their non-Energy Star counterparts. So look for the Energy Star when you shop local for appliances this holiday season. Get all the Energy Star rebate details at talgov.com. Your own utilities. Click on products and services, and all will be revealed. 'Tis the season to save. Save energy and save money with the City of Tallahassee Utilities Energy Star rebates. You'll save with the rebate, and you save on your utility bill. Happy holidays from the City of Tallahassee Utilities. Your own utilities, and America's #1 public utility.
Out on the golf course, there are the obvious hazards. There's the pond, the bunker, the rough, the even rougher.
Yeah, put me down for an 8.
The giant maples, the row of houses out of bounds on the right, the angry flock of geese who've surrounded your ball, even the occasional groundskeeper you had no clue was there. But if you think you found every possible hazard out there, think again. The hazard you missed could actually be a killer. It's the spot on your skin, the one that could be skin cancer. Fact is, if you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills 1 person every hour. 1 in 5 Americans is likely to develop a form of skin cancer during their lifetime. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. It could be the save of a lifetime. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
'Twas the night before Christmas when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care. Oh, thank goodness Boot Barn was there. With holiday specials you'll want to share. Dan Post boots, what a beautiful pair. Up to $50 off Dan Post and savings on outerwear. These specials have been packaged with care. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. With love, Boot Barn.
It's that time of year again where you have to shop for the naughty and the nice. Make it easy. Super Lube it and get rewarded with a free oil change. Right now, visit any of the 19 area Super Lube locations, buy 3 oil changes, and get 1 free. Keep it or give that free oil change to a car lover on your list. Hurry in and make shopping easy with a free oil change from Super Lube. You'll be glad you did.
They change my oil in just 10 minutes. Boy, this place is sure convenient. How I love to super lube my car, lube my car. How I love to super lube my car. Yes, sir.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Experamac of Tallahassee. Experamac, Tallahassee's trusted tech source for Apple. Stop in at 346 South Magnolia Drive or call at 765-2012 today.
What do we got tonight? We got a little New England, Miami. Yuck. I took in a ton of NFL football this weekend. It's that transitional stage that we're in. It sucks that my team is out of it. I guess I'm accustomed to it. But when you make that transition to where you're all NFL all the time, we do get bowl games starting this weekend. If you can make it to this weekend, we're going to be all right. More bowls, not less bowls is the mantra And I'm glad that that's the case, that we have a lot of bowls. Unnecessary bowls as they may be, they're still football, and I will watch. I will be glued.
Buddy, just basically get through tonight. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, we got a hockey tomorrow against St. Louis, which will be great.
Yep. That's a really good team,
It's a
too.
really good team. Yep.
It's an 8 p.m. puck drop. And
Boom.
then Wednesday, we got the bowling tournament, which is great.
Which is going to be awesome.
And then Thursday, for me, well, I'm watching Star Wars in the movie theater, so I'm covered.
Tom took the day off like 6 months ago when he found out that thing was going to be. He's like, hey, listen, I don't know what's going on, December the 13th or 14th or whatever. I'm the hell out. I won't be here. I'm letting you know now. All right, fine, buddy. You go into the first one. Is that the 3 o'clock?
They got a double feature. So they put on the old one and then they put on the new one. And
what old one? There's a million old ones.
The most recent one.
The most recent one.
Yeah,
to catch
you
up.
They
Remind
catch you up. And they put it on the IMAX, so it's a double IMAX.
All right,
there you go.
right.
Oh, buddy.
There you go. All I remember about the last one. Well, I remember mostly about it. I took my kids, obviously. I like Star Wars. I'm not crazy. I'm not all in like you guys are. And it's from my era. I grew up. But I just, for whatever reason, I don't love it as much. I like it because my kids like it now. But I remember the end was Lucas on the island there, just looking old as hell and staring back at him. Yeah,
he's looking like a G, he's lived a little bit.
He's lived a little bit. It's been some time that he's been stuck on this island or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, no, he's chosen to be.
He chose to. Yeah. He's frustrated by the world or the universe.
You know what? I don't have to give you a scouting report this time, do I? Last time, because the kids were younger. That's 2 years ago.
They were too young, and I was worried that there'd be a level of violence they couldn't see. And you said, well, there's one opening scene when it first starts. Kylo Ren is laying waste to everybody, and it's
if
not
if they're dwellers as kids, if they dwell on the fact that a village just got wiped out.
Yeah, and there were women and children in that village.
Yeah, exactly right.
And you can see that. By the way, that game that I'm telling you about, Celebration Bowl, is the 16th. It's Grambling and North Carolina A&T, but you also get. On that day, the R&L Carriers New Year's Day Bowl, or New Orleans Bowl. What the hell? If I can't speak. Do you know that matchup? Yeah, bet you don't. Troy versus North Texas.
Oh.
Very good football game, Tom.
Okay.
Very good football game. Also, the Auto Nation Cure Bowl is Western Kentucky and Georgia State. And the Las Vegas Bowl is Boise State and Oregon.
Okay.
You're not that excited about that?
Well, no. I mean, I suppose we could watch soon-to-be defensive coordinator Jim Leavitt. We all hope, coach that bowl.
On that front, I'm ready for some names.
Yeah,
I'm ready for some names.
It's about that time.
Yep, let's get some names in here.
Once we get
See how
past,
quickly we get impatient.
Yeah, we get past that game, that bowl game. Maybe there might be some announcements after that, one way or the other. One would think.
It's a 5-day respite for Florida State basketball right now as you plan out your holidays and your weekly plan here. This is that week that's been tough. It's always traditionally tough for everybody because, admit it, you're listening to this show at work or you're driving around, but you're not at work, not in your head. You're on vacation. You're ready to take holiday. It's time, right? And there's not a lot going on, like we just said. I mean, even tonight's Monday night matchup is dreadful with New England and Miami.
16.5 points for the Patriots defense. All right.
You're going to need 16.5?
I need 16.5. It's doable.
Is that, which league is this? Is this
not ours. I got smoked this year.
Tonight I'll watch that because I have Cooks playing, and but I think I'm going to lose my last game before we start the playoffs because Eddie ended up having somebody go crazy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, somebody went nuts.
I had the second most points, but I got played. This year was just a disaster. It was a tire fire. I had Julio Jones and A.J. Green. That says it all.
They were either really good and then bad for 3 weeks in a row, and then really good and then bad for 2 weeks in a row.
It's like Julio was good once. And then the rest of the weeks he was...
All you need to do is have Julio when you're facing Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
At all times. Any receiver facing Tampa Bay is going to have a good day.
I'll bet you Mohamed Sanu has more points than Julio Jones this year because he's got more touchdowns
last week. I have Mohamed Sanu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good pick.
It was a good pick. I got it late.
That's great.
Yeah, it was a good pick for me. Hey, so, by the way, I thought of this yesterday at the beginning of the Bucs-Lions game. I almost texted you. They were talking about your boy. Who you've wanted forever, who you wanted coming out in the draft and has been largely a bust. And they don't understand why.
Ebron, yeah.
So they were talking about how Ebron hasn't done anything really ever in 4 years. And the first thing that Barber says is that he's had one game of 60 yards in the NFL,
That's
which
correct.
is staggering.
Yes.
One. And He's got that in the first quarter against the Bucks. The first 5 throws of the game go to Ebron, who's wide the hell open. He's going 20 yards, 15, 10. I'm like, oh, so another guy is going to set a career high against us, whom we just got done talking about being a bust.
Yeah, no, I was watching that game with a mutual friend of ours, Mike, who's a Lions fan, and that team, I follow them a lot because of fantasy. This is the one good about fantasy sports is you actually do know a little bit more about other teams than you would
normally
otherwise.
Would. Like Reddick, is good.
No, yeah, exactly right. Yeah, but you also know that there is just something you could set your watch by with Detroit's offense, and that is in short yardage, they can't get a yard.
It's crazy. Right off the bat, first
right
series
off the
of
bat,
the game.
They call a toss.
Yeah.
That's a Dirk Cutter call right there. That's what that is.
Dirk had some doozies yesterday.
2nd and 3 after we're going down the field with passes, you call a run, 3rd and 1.
Yep. Doozies. He was not on fire yesterday.
And it's to the play side, where actually your formation is, and then you motion towards the side you're going to run to.
The Doug Martin fumble, that play calls asinine. I'm like, what are we doing
here? That's the series.
Here?
A 2nd and 3. Jameis is going down the field.
Yeah.
The F is, it's 2nd and 3. We can't screw this up. It's like Matt Millar with a 6-foot putt. It's going to be short.
I told you he coaches scared, and it permeates everything about what we do on offense.
And Matt laughs because when he does, he goes, "Oh no, what's going to happen? Is it going to go in the hole?" He does like a Mickey Mouse voice.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah,
I don't want it to go in the hole.
Yeah, he makes fun of himself for that. Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's very, very frustrating. So we got to do what's on tap. Go ahead and cue it up.
Ready for a cold one?
I think I am. Yeah.
Proof Brewing Company and Railroad Square Art Park presents What's on Tap. So, Jeff, what'll it be?
I guess the Monday Night Football game. Maybe a movie. I don't know that I can really invest a lot. I was saying that Florida State basketball wins over the weekend and they're off for 5 days. They don't play again until they play Oklahoma State. And the reason that's a big deal is that if Florida State wins that game on Saturday against Oklahoma State, they're 7-2, Oklahoma State. The Noles will go to 10-0. They're ranked currently, now number 19 in the country. If they win the game against Oklahoma State, they're going to finish 12-0 in the non-conference, and that is exactly the way you find a way to survive a dreadful stretch to ACC play if it happens because of the quality of competition you face early. You've got a lot of wins in your back pocket.
Yeah, I hope so. I just worried, man. Now, Tampa did have a decent crowd. There were more people there than I thought there would be.
Yeah,
the lower bowl.
It's ain't going to be nobody down there for that game.
No, it's going to be your boy Matt and his family. And
that's it.
And that's about it. I just worry about those neuter type games and the lack of atmosphere.
That's the same for both teams, though. They won't be energized by the surroundings.
No. Oklahoma State gave a mini scare to Wichita State on Saturday. I did see some of that game. It was on TV too as I was watching the Army-Navy game.
You're watching a little bit. This is the beauty of when Florida State basketball is good. You become a more informed, engaged college basketball fan in general. When we were bad for long stretches here, because college basketball is an inferior product in terms of efficiency and the overall level of play is greatly diminished by way of comparison to the pros. Now, you may enjoy college basketball more for a lot of other reasons. Sometimes I fall in that category. Just there's a collegial feel to it, and I like to the degree that college basketball is amateurism. I like elements of that. But I also like to see the ball go in the basket. And for a long stretch of time, college basketball players just couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. There was a emphasis to create more offense because of it by the rules changes. And they've done a good job with that. The product is a lot better.
Oh, it's a hell of a lot better.
A lot better. And I watched some over the weekend. And so, of course, I watched our game. So the product's better, but we're also better. And when you marry those two things, now you're engaged. You're kind of focused because you're looking around the league. You're looking around at teams that you're going to have to compete with, and you get more involved. And I hate that we're off now for some time, and we play, again, Oklahoma State on Saturday. But, God, if we could win that game, baby, that is as good a start as you could ever have wished for, given all that Florida State's lost.
Isn't it funny between those two versions of the sport, the NBA and college, the regular season doesn't matter for either?
Well,
for completely different reasons.
Completely different reasons, but they did that to the college basketball season a long time ago, and it started with the advent of these conference tournaments. And then from there,
it's like unless you're a bubble team, it doesn't matter to you in college. I mean, what happens on Wednesday in January, then that matters greatly.
But because we frequently reside in that realm, I am interested in what happens to you on a Wednesday.
Sure.
And it's like this last game against Tulane, I watched intently just because that's the kind of team that can beat you.
But then you get to the postseason and you're one of the best 8 teams in the country, but you get a bad draw and you have a bad one-off.
Bad night, you're done.
You're done in the Sweet 16. You know, it's just complete nonsense.
Or you're done in the second round.
Whereas in the NBA, it's like, all right, one of these 5 teams is certainly going to be in the finals. Chances are it's 2 of these 3 teams are going to be in the finals. You go.
I will say the East has gotten better finally in the NBA, where it's not a slam dunk now like it has been that whoever LeBron was on, that's where they're going.
Push them to 6 probably. It's like the West. The West for the last decade has been like, oh well, there might be some intrigue in round 2 of the playoffs. Round 1 sucks across the board. Round 2 might be interesting. And then the East, it's going to be LeBron's team, and then maybe this squad can push it just a little bit.
Our thanks to Proof Brewing Company for sponsoring What's on Tap. Proof Brewing Company since 2007, offering Tallahassee's finest craft beer selections at their massive tap room in Railroad Square Art Park, and Can Deliciousness. Ooh, Can Deliciousness in stores near you. I can't find my Proof Sour in the Can Deliciousness. Come on, Proof.
Well, you just got to
I can go over there, but it's a long ways from my house, and I love it over there, especially this time of year when it's cool outside.
Buddy, you have an opportunity on Wednesday, assuming that, you want to stop by after Crenshaw or something like that.
Yeah, no, you're
in
right.
that neck of the woods.
I am in that neck of the woods then. I'm really looking forward to bowling. I haven't bowled since, I think, maybe once since the last year's tournament. I did with the kids once this year.
Yeah, the last time.
Maybe twice.
I bowled in a massive entertainment complex with the the Midway, and then they had it was the day that the Packers played the Cowboys in the NFC playoffs last year. That's the last time I bowled.
So what are you going to roll this time? Do you know? You have a feeling?
Well, if my knee holds up.
I was going to say, have you figured out what you're doing with your knee? Is it okay? Is it better?
Well, it has largely. It'll be okay if I haven't bowled until this event. But if I bowled, recently,
but you've been doing some yoga off and on.
I have.
I think that maybe the yoga will make sure your knee's all right. You're a little bit more flexible. You probably got a little bit more limber since the last time.
Last year I hit 140, I think.
You did.
Right?
You did. Yeah, you did.
So we'll do it, I think, again, 138.5 is what we'll set the over on.
All right. Well, I'll bet you tomorrow. We'll talk about it. Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. To those that called and or listen, surely do appreciate it. Have a good night. Talk to you tomorrow.